It's time.
Today's a good day. Today is sunny.
Sunny, no wind.
No wind, about 55 degrees. That being said, Trinity Investment Firm, our commercial real estate investment arm, closed on a new property today. A gorgeous one, albeit, out in West Glen called Promenade Plaza. Check it out. Go to Trinity. They're on, well, I think legitimately almost every social media.
Yeah.
Insta, TikTok, Facebook, tweet, whatever. Go check it out. Check us out. Hit us up. We'll chat about that later. Today, we're just... It's smart that the PGA and the NFL got together and said, you know what, it's draft week, so we're going to ship them off to Mexico and give, like, no data or much publicity at all, because I haven't seen much at all across any of my socials or anything that I look at usually. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that they got together on that.
I think there's only 2 of the top, it's 20 or 30 in the world that are.
It's like 4 of the top 50 players in the world or something like that.
Yep. So NFL draft.
Just a collective.
It's legit 2 of the top 20.
Relaxation.
It's John Rahm and Abe Answer.
Yep.
2 of the top 20 in the world.
What is Rahm doing?
Probably trying to get back into form. He
trying
hasn't
to win for the first time in a year?
Rahm hasn't had a top 10 finish since February.
Surprised JT's not playing too.
Yeah, they're not looking.
I mean, JT's playing
fine.
good golf, though. JT's still playing good golf. I think. I mean, he's still getting in top 10s. He's still doing those things.
Right.
Rahm is not doing that.
Well, he used to be the number 1 player in the world.
That's just how finicky golf is, though.
Right. Not wrong.
For some.
Not wrong.
Unless you're can't lay. Gee, many Christmas.
A little bit of golf and NBA. What's the dude's name who didn't suit up all year?
Ben Simmons.
I saw a tweet that said
the Tiger tweet.
The Tiger tweet.
Yeah.
Tiger basically almost died, lost his leg, all of this stuff, and still played before Ben Simmons did with a sore back. Yikes. Bad luck.
There was a lot of people about that, like, surprised that Ben Simmons didn't come back during that series and everything.
Yeah, I don't know why people are surprised with anything Ben Simmons does anymore.
Right.
He didn't play the first 2-3 games. Like, why would he come back for?
Well, he said that he was coming back game 4.
Yeah, that's...
And then it was
like
2 years.
It was said that he was coming. I don't know if he...
Right.
He said he felt good. I mean, he's videos of himself,
doing everything.
Somewhat practicing, but like dunking and stuff like that. Same thing with Zion Williamson. Like, he's doing 360 dunks.
I don't understand.
I think Zion...
But you can't play?
Well, I think the thing with Zion is...
In a non-physical NBA?
If Zion doesn't want to be in New Orleans for a long time, he wants to show people, okay, I'm still athletic enough, but at the same time doing it outside in a practice type setting, not in a game setting.
Right, but you can't tell me you can't give me 12 to 15 minutes off the bench if you can run
I agree with that. That's what I'm saying.
I played rec league basketball on half a knee and can get up and down the court for 10 or 12 minutes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, NBA is not physical anymore. These guys, prima donnas.
That's
prima donnas. But we're off that. I just had to
guaranteed money.
I just had to pull up another.
That's what's wrong with the Saudi Golf League. It's all guaranteed money.
Anthony
what
Kim, baby.
What do you have to play well?
You don't.
Well, I'm already getting paid. I'm just
Anthony Kim.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
He's got his incentive to.
Oh, we digress.
Yeah.
All right.
More to come on that for sure.
NFL draft. How are we doing it, boys? Which route do you want to go?
Should we?
Let's recap.
Let's recap and knock out golf before, and then let's do our big.
So excited for the NFL.
Oh yeah.
I apologize.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
To
so
everybody.
we'll make it a little quick recap.
Hope they didn't.
Zurich Open or Zurich Classic.
Zurich Open. See, we don't even know the name of it.
Yeah, in Louisiana. So overall, probably our best overall week that we've had. The fade was actually pretty tough on this one because there's only 80 teams, and you got some guys that are, paired together. That there's a lot of really, really good guys paired with maybe mediocre guys that play well at that course that can finish a lot higher. So there's a lot more parity.
Right.
So we'll start at the top with one and done picks. Stoy took Ryan Palmer in the Scotty Scheffler Ryan Palmer grouping. They finished T18.
He finally didn't finish T10 or 10 or better, so that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Cole took Victor Hovland of the Hovland Morikawa pairing. They finished T29.
Yeah.
And then I went with Burns in the Burns Horschel pairing, and they got second.
Yeah. Played well.
Played well, but who was going to... Cantlay and Schauffele were unbelievable.
They would. No.
Yeah.
Xander Schauffele is the king of winning non-important PG or like non-PGA events.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Like he is. And I took him 2 weeks before at the Masters and he missed the cut.
Right.
Gosh. Oh, what? There was one video though of those two like robotically in sync moving their putter and everything. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
that was pretty cool.
When you're on fire, you're on fire. I mean, it is what it is.
Outright winners. Stoy took Lowry Poulter. They finished 13th. Cole took Hovland Morikawa. Backed him up, T29. I took Horschel Burns. They got second. Lindsay with the Fleetwood Garcia. They missed the cut. I think the cut was
8 under.
8 under, and they were 5 under, I think.
Yeah, they didn't. They actually weren't close.
No.
It wasn't. No. They were not playing competitive.
I actually liked that pairing too. So
yeah,
thankfully Lindsay took it. Made us all feel better, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Our Black Stallion instead of Dark Horse. Our Black Stallion,
Love it.
50-1 odds.
Didn't do well.
Nobody did well. I think all of them were right around that 5 or 6 under.
They were.
I don't know which one was the best out of that, but we all missed the cut there. Top 20 though. Stoy with Rose Stenson. They got a T14 there. And Cole with Taylor Moore, Matt Naismith getting T4.
I continued my top 20 and top 40 being my best picks.
How do you get a point when they didn't finish in the top 20?
We've done it that whole way all year.
I know. I'm noticing it, but if they don't finish in that, how do you get a point?
Yeah,
I don't know. I literally have just been putting it that way all year.
Legitimately,
just doing a 3-2-1.
Yeah.
I got you. It's just
the only time that I gave zero is if they miss a cut.
It's like a participation trophy.
The only time that I've given a zero is if they miss a cut, unless it's in the player to fade.
That's fair.
Team to fade.
Holla at your boy.
This is so Cole. I guess I should have prefaced earlier. He gets the shitty shot for outright winners, but then he doubles down here because Stoy faded Hovland and Morikawa. They were the favorites to win this tournament, and they ended up T29.
But they also did miss the cut.
They didn't miss the cut.
That's fair.
So that's good.
Right. I mean, that's still a good fade. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like a.
Oh, it's not. I mean,
I
know what the best fade is. I mean, I've done it, but that's just an average. Average.
Yeah. Cole with Leishman Smith. They were the third odds to win it. They finished T21. Last year's winners, T21.
He didn't prove it to you. I liked it.
And then I took Lowry Poulter. They were the 7th best team, and they finished T13. I have a shitty shot for that one because that was Stoy's outright winner, and they didn't finish 10 spots lower for me to win that bet between us. 99 peaches.
That's a good one.
99 root beer.
Nope.
99 root beer. Peppermint?
And Bacardi.
Coconut and strawberries. Woohoo!
Oh.
Ooh, that's kind of.
Hey.
I like that.
That's not
Go ahead,
terrible.
pour that in.
That's
drink.
not
That's
bad.
kind of good. Oh.
I'll take that to the beach with me.
So
Absolutely.
overall, Stoy was the winner this week. He got 9 points. I was second with 8, and Cole was the loser with 7.
Have you updated the overall yet?
Yes. And I am just thriving with shitty shots.
So it goes to show that if you have less shitty shots, you have more points.
This guy, Stoy's like a green in regulation
So
kind of guy.
the only thing here is so this is an asterisk.
Shots gained.
There is an asterisk here that I need to go back and find. There's some more points potentially within the player to fade and dark horse portion of the Masters week that I need to go back and listen and make sure that I have those updated. But regardless, overall, so I will go to those overall standings. Stoy's in the lead with 74 Cole is in second with 65, and I am in last with 64. Stoy had that big week where he picked that winner, gets those 5 extra points.
Yeah, let's go.
Really pole vaulted him in the lead there. Shitty shot count. Stoy is, again, by golf terms, in the lead with
Got
2.
the same amount.
Cole has 6. Cole, you've had.
Why does it feel like it's more? I had 2 last week.
Yeah.
I marked it down.
No,
I'll go back and mark it down again, but I have 8. So
No, I'm just saying, I feel like that number's low, but I think it's been a lot recently.
We also skipped the Masters. We didn't do one then.
Right.
I will.
No, you did one. We didn't do the others.
Right.
I will go back through our points breakdown really quick. So out of our categories that I just talked about, that points breakdown, winner of each category receives 3 points, second 2 points, third 1 point. A miscut in all categories outside of player to fade results in 0 points. The discrepancy that we had was in the top 40, top 20 pick. Do you get a point if they don't finish there? Yes, no. I mean, they didn't miss the cut, so maybe, I don't know. Extra points, choosing outright winner in any of the categories outside of player to fade obviously gets an extra 5 points for the week. And then if your player to fade wins the tournament, you lose 5 points. That did happen to us one week where Stoy picked the winner and I picked the winner in my player to fade. So that's our update. That is our recap of the Zurich Classic. This week, for the first time ever, PGA Tour has the Mexico Open.
Yes.
So before we get started on this, Cole, if I can get this sucker open.
I'm going to do the coconut first. If this was lime, I would have put the lime in the coconut, but
I did have that once.
Would you twist it all up?
we do it all together.
I did have
We
that
just
once,
all do it together.
Yes.
and it was good.
Makes sense. But coconut strawberry?
I don't know.
Not today. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to you. Kyrie Irving type of cheers.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
The peaches one was worse than the root beer for sure.
Yeah, I'm not anticipating the strawberry one being very good.
What do you think it's going to taste like? Like what?
Bad strawberries?
They're not gonna be
Fair.
good.
Like if I left strawberries in a bag all night with vodka?
Did you
in
do
the
that?
sun?
Did you do that?
You know, like
Have
when
you done it before?
soak the gummy bears?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just soak the fruit or whatever.
That's
just not great. And I imagine if you guys ate all the gummy bears out of there and then just gave me the bottom of the bag to drink out of,
would be
that's what
that.
it's going to taste like. I'm pretty sure that's how they make these.
It's not a bad. That's
They just put
accurate.
fruit, whatever fruit,
And then they sell the gummy bears.
They sell the fruit, and then they just pour out what's left in the bag into bottles and ship them out. Now with root beer,
You could be on some.
maybe they just do that with the root beer barrels,
Exactly. Yeah.
and then they sell the root beer barrels, and then they pour.
It's not
I
bad.
mean-
It's not a bad plan.
You know, I feel like I'm on one of the, like the Starburst commercials where it's like, oh, this is how the Starbursts are made. Like this is
Yeah.
how 99 brand alcohol is made.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
It's not. But
Like,
All
they
these
always
like
say,
flavor, all these flavor things remind me of like people when
you should have
LaCroix,
started with the strawberries though.
when
'Cause at
LaCroix
least Bacardi's a better
and like Bubbler,
overall.
It's true.
when LaCroix and like Bubbly and all those things came out and they were the hot craze and everything, and people are trying them and they're like, okay, drinking the strawberry one of these tastes like you're drinking tonic water or just like sparkling water, and somebody burped in your face that just ate strawberries. There's
Yeah,
no
that's fair.
flavor to these whatsoever.
It tastes like feet.
They're not good. I'm still
don't like
I'm
any of
excited
those.
about the strawberries though.
Here we go.
At least it's cold. Exactly what discussed.
It gets worse
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
it,
no, your
much
face. Your face is it's changing.
your anticipation. I think you anticipated the initial flavor to be worse,
Pretty bad, and it was actually fine.
It was the,
and
Now it's
now it's just
just like every other 99 brand.
I love it.
You just wash it down with whiskey, right?
Absolutely.
there. We go. All right, so jumping this week to the Mexico Open.
I gotta stop sucking at picks.
Vidante Vallarta.
Who typed this up?
I
Dude can't spell.
didn't type it up. I just
Printed it out.
pasted
Nuevo
Jaguars.
Vallarta, Mexico.
URs.
That's how you spell Jaguars.
No, it's not. Isn't it AU?
No.
Oh, no. I mean, it looks weird.
Total yardage this week.
He's not a Jaguars fan.
They
It's
suck
fine.
anyway.
Total yardage
Oh,
this
we're
week.
actually talking about Mexico?
I'm just going to do a quick rundown of it.
Mhm.
74-56, par 71,
Forget my
3 par 5s, 5 par 3s, hazards, not a ton of trouble outside from wind. There's some water on the course, and then there's definitely some sand traps, but
Sand traps, yep.
not like stuff that we've seen recently where there's middle of the fairway bunkers, different stuff like that. Fairways this week are actually pretty large with limited trouble. So I think we're going to see a lot of driver off the tee because it is a longer par 71 course. So distance off the tee is going to be big. Greens.
Elevation. They'll be fine.
Greens, looks like they're measuring like an 11 and 11.5 on the stimp. So a little bit on the slower side and softer side for the PGA Tour. I'm looking here at some of these notes. So overall course, overall course here, it is a flatter course. It's a resort course. So, I mean, you got your everyday, resort tourists, whatever, playing at these courses too. So it is flatter. Could see some pretty low scores, but then the wind is going to be the major factor.
Yeah.
Kind of shows throughout the weather when I looked at it. Pretty standard every single day, 74 to 76 degrees. Winds, basically the average wind speed is going to be 13 miles an hour. It's just what directions that coming from. Mainly west, southwest, west, and southwest. Those are the three directions that it's coming from. See lower winds in the mornings, higher winds in the afternoons with it being a coastal course. So that's something to keep an eye out for. Key metrics that I kind of looked at this week: driving distance, strokes gained, ball striking, strokes gained approach, tee to green, and then proximity from 200 plus, because there's some distance on this course. So 200 plus. Comparables for course history. There's obviously not a ton of course history for these players because it is the first time that the Mexico Open has happened.
Right.
You said, when did they play here?
They played basically they played the course, but it was different tees even.
Yeah.
It was 400-yard difference in tees, so I'm just not a lot out there from a comparable.
Okay.
Or comparable.
Field wise below average.
Comparable.
What were those words?
There's a T in comparable.
Hey, did you know Jaguars is spelled correctly?
Right? Isn't there a Q in there?
Field wise is below average. We kind of talked about that at the beginning of the show. 2 players in the top 20 of the world is it. John Rahm is there looking to kind of come back into form. He's been struggling as of late with not having that top 10 since February that we discussed. I think kind of looking at these holes, I have one stretch of 4 holes that I think is probably my favorite because it's a decently long par 5, then a very, very reachable off the tee par 4, then a normal par 4, and then a shorter-ish tour par 3.
Yep.
So you go over 600-yard par 5, then you go under 300-yard par 4, then you go almost 500-yard par 4, and then you go to a under 190-yard par 3.
Right.
So that's kind of that stretch there where I'm like, okay, that's kind of a interesting thing to look at.
On the course, it brings a lot of different shots into play, which that's always fun when you get to see the best guys in the world use a lot of different clubs where it's not just stock, driver 7-iron or, 7-iron off of every par 3. I mean, you're going to see some 4-irons. You're going to see driver 3-wood. Hopefully you even see maybe some driver off the deck on the long par 5.
That
There's a couple guys
640-yard par
field
5.
Yeah, you might see take it out and see what they can do. Driver off the deck's always a fun little thing to watch, especially when you got guys that can actually hit it well.
I tried to look up, and I need to find a place where I can find exact tour averages for, hole lengths and different stuff based off of the par. But realistically, I think this course is probably going to be right around that average just because you have a 170-yard par 3,
right,
and then you jump up to a 226-yard par 3.
So I mentioned you are going to have a little bit of caddy work to do this week.
Yeah.
You're at, well, elevation. So you're going to have percentages off of clubs. Obviously, 200-yard shot. If they're taking 10% off, you're hitting a 180-yard shot. So that definitely comes into play.
Math is hard.
Uphill, downhill is going to come into play with that. So
I think
you're going to see it, I think, play fairly normal because of the elevation.
Yeah. I think coastal winds is going to be a big factor. It's going to be weird because coastal winds, I feel like, change directions whenever it wants to. It's like it's Iowa weather. It's drunk. It has a mind of its own, so it can do whatever it wants. That's where here, I mean, you see these averages.
Nuevo
Vallarta.
It's not at elevation.
So, I mean, you see the average of 13, but how much
Just
is
kidding.
that really? Yeah.
It's not at elevation. We're at sea level. Stoy lied to us.
Every time they play in Mexico, it's at
Well,
elevation.
Mexico City's at elevation.
Every time they play there, it's at elevation. And this is not. They're basically are sea level.
All right. Scratch that.
Scratch that.
Going to play long. So long. No. I mean, driver distance is the number one stat. That driver distance and then shots gained approach were the two big things I looked at. So that makes more sense that those were things that, not playing at elevation would come into play. So there's some names on there that you wouldn't or haven't necessarily seen this year because of that. Guys can be a little bit more willy-nilly with the driver.
So you guys knowing like coastal winds, different stuff like that, resort courses style, tee times, which would you rather have? Would you rather have just middle of the day both days? Would you rather have early on, Thursday, later on Friday, and just kind of hold your ground?
The wind's not going to blow.
But I mean, it's going to
likely
pick up
in the morning though.
It's going to pick up. Right.
Yeah.
So would you rather have your early round on Thursday or earlier on Friday? Earlier on Thursday, get out to a good start, or Friday to...
I mean, if it's only
Write the script.
13, I mean, I know they switch, but if it's not like that, you got to get to 20-mile-an-hour winds before it really affects these guys, honestly. Yeah. So if it's consistent every day or going to be less than, I don't think they matter. But
also, for me, just in general, give me middle of the day. Give me middle.
Yeah,
playing basically the same.
You're going to get more consistent conditions.
Get more consistent conditions.
Yeah.
Obviously,
greens are going to be the same.
Right. You're not dealing with dew. You're not dealing with dusk temperatures. You're just give me middle.
Yeah.
Always, usually, unless
consistency for any of those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, we have seen some tournaments though where it's like, okay, yeah, that weather gets horrendous in this afternoon or whatever. So having these tee times this day makes a ton of sense, and that's the advantage here. I think with it, like you said, the consistency here doesn't make as much of a difference. I was just curious on what your guys' thoughts were on that.
No, I mean, I definitely think that if you put these guys in a vacuum, I mean, they know their stock yardages and they know their distances and stuff like that. So as much consistency as you can have as a professional golfer, especially, I mean, you're going to get into a position where Stoy has to leave. He'll be right back after these messages.
wiring instructions.
Gotta love closing day, right?
Right. Some things are bigger than podcast.
Hey, I hear you there. While he's doing that,
Yeah, I mean,
so I have kind of my, like I said, my metrics that I looked at. I guess one that I didn't really bring up earlier is birdies are better.
mm-hmm.
That was really, really big, obviously, last week in the team portion
Right.
of it. Like, can you birdie? Can you lower your team score?
Right. Which was so disappointing with Morikawa and Hovland because that's what those two do.
Right.
And they just could not
How much
get it together.
how much do you emphasize? Like, I know driving distance is one of those emphases that we talked about.
Right.
And you said
Honestly,
was approach your second one that you liked?
Yeah, approach, and then, there's a lot of bunkers on this course, but at the end of the day,
They talked about strokes gained out of the sand and scrambles.
I don't like that stat from a perspective of if you're striking the ball well for 4 days at this course, especially, you're not playing out of the bunker. Like, you might have some bunker saves, but it's not going to be the reason you win the tournament, I guess, in my eyes. So, like, that's what I didn't like about that stat. It was just like, all right, yes, there's a lot of bunkers, but it's not like, I mean, these guys are so good out of the sand. Like, there's some guys that, like, hit it in the bunker on purpose because they think they'll have a better chance at making birdie on tough courses.
Or they don't want to fall into a runoff that's 10, 15 yards down, and let's go to a greenside bunker where I'm not leaving myself short-sided or anything like that, but I can get out and get close.
I mean, Jordan Spieth I'm not saying that he hit the ball purposely into the bunker, but, like, he was better with a sand wedge from the bunker than he was with his putter for a lot of the tournament that he won.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong.
Admittedly, so, like, he won the playoff from a bunker.
And I think you see that, and maybe it's the, and I could be way wrong here. I'm not obviously a tour level golfer by any means or even close. I'm like a average high school 1A Iowa golfer.
That's fair.
But consistency of feel out of a bunker, like you have that consistent feel. Now you have your lies where it's plugged or different stuff like that, but your club reacts the same basically out of the sand. So maybe I'm on the fringe, or I'm in a patch of rough where the blades of grass are X, Y, Z, and my club reacts differently.
Right.
Do you think that's maybe why some of these guys are better out of the bunkers around the green than they are out of like a rough out of the?
I think a lot of that, too, comes down to, like, you hear the announcers talk a lot of, and it's funny because, this talk's been going on for so long now, is, like, keeping the ball on the ground. So, like, a lot of these older players who are now announcers, the Faldos of the world, are always talking about, like, that would be an 8-iron or, at worst, like a pitching wedge. We want to get the ball on the ground. Whereas everybody today, they want to use their 60-degree, their 56, their fancy wedge, put the ball in the air, the Mickelson flop shots and the spins and, all the stuff that looks really cool. But at the end of the day, like, it's way tougher to do, takes way better, cleaner, more consistent contact than, keep the ball on the ground. Like, there's a reason why, especially amateurs, if they can putt, should probably putt. Because you're going to be closer to the hole on average for the most part as someone who isn't an expert at those things. Whereas the sand is a chance where they can actually, like, the new age guy, and that's not saying that older guys, I don't know if they were good or not. We didn't watch them out of the bunker. But, like, these new age guys are used to using those higher lofted wedges, and, like, that's, like, I spin the ball consistently out of the sand, and I don't spin the ball at all.
Right.
So, like that's when you can get your ultimate, like, get down on the ball, like, control the spin. We're aiming for the hole. We're not, that ball's going to stop. It's not going to run out on us. It's not going to. So, like, that's ultimately for those guys, especially in any type of a decent lie, when they can just take dead aim at a pin with really nothing to worry about, especially on a course like this.
Yep.
Now, Augusta, obviously, those sand shots are a little different in certain courses, but ultimately, I think that's the answer to those questions is, like, if the course allows for it from a greens perspective, like, sand shots are, I expect to make it I expect to tap it in for, I would say 90% of the field. Now, there's certain guys that probably don't like playing out of the sand, and that 10% obviously isn't going to hit it in there or try to miss in there.
Yeah.
Because there's some guys that are just going to try to miss in front bunkers and stuff like that. And there's, a very small handful that won't. I don't want to try to miss in a bunker. You don't want to try to miss in a bunker. But, for those guys, like, that's when they get to pull off those shots. And, like, it's just a comfort level. And I think a lot of it comes from using those clubs around the green way more so than the older. Yeah.
I mean, for me, if I'm in a bunker, it's coming out the same whether I'm 175 yards away or if I'm greenside. My swing is the same. I just changed the club.
Right.
So I can get out of a bunker.
Right.
But I don't have a control over that distance. Right. And for me, as far as spin, I think I put spin on one ball this year, and it was at Copper on that on that shot when you and I were playing together. I said, I put one good shot together and it was there, and I stopped it on a dime.
Right.
I'll never do that again. I might have one or two of those shots this year, but the same way. I don't put a lot of spin on anything. I know when I go around the green, that was one of the things that helped my game was I went from I thought I needed to do a 6-degree because that's what tour players are chipping with. Like, if the good guys are doing that, I need to do that. Right. No, absolutely not. I typically, if I'm around, I'm doing like a 9-iron a lot of times. Now, my 9-iron is weak lofted, so it's almost like a typical 8-iron. So somebody else might play their 8-iron. I'm playing my 9-iron. That's how I do it. No, I'm not
it's just
saying
one
that
of
I'm
those
greater on the greens, but
just one of those things where most of the time, and dare I say, like the top 5% or the 5% of even lower handicap golfers. I mean, we're talking about your 2, 3, 4, up to like 5, 6, 7 handicaps. Don't need to necessarily play 4 wedges because they don't practice enough to be able to perfect those clubs well enough to impact their scores. So like you should be playing one of those wedges maybe because there's going to be times where you need to hit a shot over a tree or high enough to slow it down or whatever, and that's fine. But for the most part, you should be probably playing a 50-degree wedge or less, a pitching wedge, 8-iron, bump and run type of stuff, and you could probably shave on average, maybe 2-3 strokes off a round by not, mishitting your 60-degree because that's what Justin Thomas would have hit.
Yeah.
It's just like, and you can understand that because embracing that part is the toughest part just because it's not fancy. It's not, doesn't feel good necessarily, but at the same time, like at the end of the day, strokes are strokes on the golf course. So,
I have wedges, hand-me-down wedges from our boy Stoy here, but I have wedges that, I have a 52, 56, 60. Realistically, in my bag, I need a 54 and a 58.
Right. I mean, I'm literally that's usually one of my strengths is my short wedges, and for some reason this year, my longer irons and driver and 3-wood have really come around to being very consistent and helping me get close in 2-1 par 5s, and my par 5 scoring has increased immensely because of that. But my par 4 scores and my scrambling has suffered. So like my handicap really hasn't changed, and it's irritating. But at the end of the day, is the answer for me to just put the 60-degree in the bag, put the 54-degree in the bag, and ultimately in some rounds it has. Now it being as wet and windy as it has in Iowa definitely has an impact on that as well. And playing a 58-degree wedge indoors is completely different than playing it for 20 yards out on the side of a mud hill with the wind blowing, 25 mile an hour in your face.
I need to take at least one of my wedges, probably 2 of them out, and that's because I have like 3 wedges within. I have my pitching wedge, a drop wedge in mine, and a 52, probably within 4 degrees of each other.
Right.
I'm not good enough to have the distance down exactly. I might take and hit the wedge that's stronger lofted 4 degrees, the exact same as this other one.
Right. So
we went on a big tangent just to kill time there, and we got to talking a little bit about our games, wedges, different stuff.
I just
how guys are so good around the green.
It was like the nicest day. It started out as 28 degrees, so go figure.
We walked outside and we literally talked about that. We're like, Fridays when we like to, get out on the course, you see the swirling wind emoji or picture on the forecast, and then
40% chance of rain.
And then today you see the tops of the trees,
not even
wiggling.
It's been an issue.
Yeah.
Soon.
So
someday.
Let's jump into our picks here. Story and I kind of have them jumped out for every single one of them. Let's with this one, let's start outright winners.
All right.
Let's start outright winners because it's a different field, so I think that we're going to see some names that we definitely don't normally see.
Left my phone.
Right. I am going to watch Stoy leave again. I'm going with John Rahm.
I like. Get back to form. Get back in. Yeah.
Give me a get right. I mean, you can swing big. There's not, like I said, not a lot of trouble you can get in on this course without just completely throwing it around. And this is not, like, if you're Rahm showing up to this tournament, you're not showing up for a sponsorship thing. You're not, like, you're going to get back into form. And so.
Or you're not.
Right. No,
yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
but, like, I mean, he's not, at least as far as we know, he's not battling an injury.
Right.
I mean, you know, it's a little funk here and there. It's not like he's been playing terrible golf. You know, he's not fighting back something or anything like that. You know, making some putts, giving yourself a chance on some different holes. He's still in the top of just about every metric you look at. He's somewhere in the top 10, 15 golfers. So it's not like he's, missing terribly. So, I mean, he's close in a lot of ways. So, from an outright winner standpoint, hard for me with this field not to kind of ride the favorite. Guy can make birdies in bunches. And he will not be my one and done, but he will be my outright winner this week.
This is not a one and done week to pick him, though.
I mean, it's not, but like in some ways, if you don't think that he's going to get back in form this year, why the hell not?
And if you see him getting a top 5 or a top 10
Right.
and a weaker field, like let's get some money out of him before he goes into one of these bigger tournaments and
Guys,
finishes 40th.
We need winners and winners only in one and done.
Hey.
So, hey, I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying.
I moved up a couple spaces.
Yeah, you did.
Hey,
With a T2, absolutely.
come on.
It had to be above me. Still not.
I am now.
Am I in last?
No.
I refuse to
Not
check.
I'm about to look.
You're in
Don't worry.
36th out of 37, and I'm in 34th now.
I refuse to check.
And Stoy, I think you're 33rd or 32nd, one of the two.
Atta baby. Gosh, we are really holding down
I'm
the bottom.
still 32nd. Haven't moved in a while.
You know what they call us? The sandbags.
Yeah.
We're the ones that hold down the back of the 2-wheel drive pickup in the winter.
We're doing.
My outright winner,
well.
I'm between two people here. These guys, like kind of in the metrics that we talked about, are very, very similar.
Yep.
I think so. For my outright winner,
Are you going to split them?
yeah, I am.
But which one are you going?
I'm going to go
on?
Gary Woodland in my outright winner. He's got a little bit more distance off the tee, and that's why I'm taking him outright winner here.
And he plays well in the wind.
He's.
And he should have won earlier this year if he could. Speaking of bunkers, if he could have gotten up and down out of a damn bunker.
There is one guy that I could have potentially picked here, and I don't know if anybody's going to pick him, so I'm going to not talk about him just yet. But that guy's really consistent, although we've given him a lot of shit this year, and he doesn't have a tour win yet.
Yep.
But there's a guy in there that's really, really consistent that I considered taking as one of these one and done or outright winners.
Okay.
So who do you got?
You're going dark.
Who knows,
dark
baby?
horse?
Let's go.
Sebastian.
Let's go.
Back home?
He's from Colombia.
From Spain?
Is he from Spain?
I don't know where he's from.
I know it's not Mexico.
All right, that's fair.
There's like 10. I think there's like 10 or more.
He's Colombian.
Mexican.
Abe's coming
I'm
home.
going with South Americans, and you'll see that later.
That's fair.
I think there's
one's not South American, but regardless,
You're going with
I'm
Sebastian
going
Munoz.
with some type of Hispanic descent.
That's fair.
And I'm feeling it. It's just to me, this is not a week a big name wins. This is a week a big name competes, and then someone
Wins that hasn't
wins that you never won or you just don't think about.
Fair
It
enough.
just feels like that. So
All right.
I like it. Let's go. Gosh, let's go top 40.
Top 40.
Let's go top 40.
Greatest hits.
Stoy, I like your guy because
Pat Perez, baby.
he
I
made
just love him as he's just fun.
he made one of the best comments I think I've ever talked about. We were talking a ton about, amateur golfers and different stuff. And he's like, quit hitting your driver at the driving range.
Right.
Quit hitting your driver at the driving range. Play your irons, get used to those, and then spend 99% of your time 15 yards and in around the green, and I guarantee you could shave 5 to 10 strokes off your game.
Way before hitting driver.
He didn't see my back 9 the last time we went out, specifically hole 18.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hit a driver a couple times at least, warming up.
Well, yeah, but
Which is the one thing that sucks about Copper, by the way.
Warming up
Yeah, we
by
didn't
the
get
way
to.
you hit driver on 18.
Yeah,
if
no.
you're not warm by 18, and
got
also
cold.
you hit.
I got cold. And I hit.
I needed to hit the range on 12.
No, I mean more like 15, but hey, it's fine.
Right.
It's fine.
I'm
It's
sorry,
fine.
the range just wasn't in between 12.
It was cold
Well, we
that
didn't
day.
we didn't get to hit the
It was.
range at all because
No,
the
and copper
picker
you
hadn't
can't-
been there.
Copper, you can't hit driver
Can't
anyway.
hit I mean, you
Which
can,
is the problem.
but you hit a house
Real quick.
or a shed.
Any
or-
which way.
Yes.
Any which
I mean,
way.
I hit a house on one of the worst hooks
Oh my God.
ever.
Hey, that's all right. We played there a week later, and we talked about that, and nobody believed me that you could actually hit that house.
Into a direct headwind.
Yes.
You can.
That,
Seen it
honestly,
with
it was
these
just
eyes.
muscle.
These eyes have seen.
Honestly, it was just muscle that
So,
got through that wind to that house.
Real quick, this brings up did you guys see the story where the people that live on the country club hole,
Oh, yeah.
the
Yep.
par 4, it's on a dog leg. They've gotten 700 and some odd balls hit over them over the last 4
Couple
years.
years. It wa-
Or something like that. And they won a $5 million lawsuit.
Yeah.
For basically pain and suffering
Yeah. Yeah. It was insane.
from the golf course, which, I mean, you live on a golf course. So
And not live. They don't only live on a golf course. They live where most golfers miss.
right.
Like
It-
there.
and
so
the
it's a
golf
dog
course
leg
was
left
there.
with
It's
a
not like it
short
was
right
built.
miss.
So yeah, so like
Basically.
they
It
live
wasn't
on
hard
like
dog
a
leg.
330-yard dog leg left, and they are straight through the
Yeah.
dog leg.
So
And people are trying to cut the corner, and then they miss
Well,
right with their
regardless,
slice.
the
And
ball's
then
going
just
right
sliced,
there.
yeah.
It don't
And
matter. It's going
so-
there.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. And they won.
like they want, like that's the whole like McDonald's lawsuit when they started to have to put hot in their coffee
Because that lady
because
burned
somebody
herself.
got burned by coffee.
Dropped it in her lap. It's too hot.
I mean, this is where
She
we
didn't
are
know.
as
But
a
the fact that-
society.
The fact that
$5 million
McDonald's,
for 700 golf balls.
McDonald's kind of did well in that
Please hit them in
lawsuit,
my
though.
yard.
McDonald's did okay in that lawsuit because they did, and like I think it was their fine print or something when they were advertising for their coffee that it was meant to be drank, not in the car, but like at work, different stuff like that.
Right.
Regardless, they
The
still
people
settled
still settled and got
for a
money.
lot of
That's
money,
what I'm saying.
but
like a-
not
Couple mil.
yeah. But like
Sorry.
But back
pennies.
then, that's.
Sorry, yeah,
but
we're
back
getting
then
off
it was
track,
like-
but like, yeah,
We sidetracked.
regardless, like that's
Anyways, Pat Perez is my top 40.
yes.
Because get it.
What are his odds?
Old PP
plus 135?
135.
Okay,
There was no 125s. So Took Patty.
that's kind of why I
PP.
hinted at it.
What's our top 40? Is it 125 or one?
It's just got to be plus.
Plus.
but
So
I usually take 125s.
oh yeah, that's right. I like your pick, Ryan,
Ryan?
for more than just
Ryan?
the namesake.
Ryan?
You going with it too?
No, I'm not.
Absolutely
But
not.
I just wanted you to know that I do like it.
Okay.
And I have I'm taking a guy, Wyndham Clark, who is in the
Love it.
top
A hotel chain.
3 of driving distance. Has
Really?
been competitive on the
What are his
course. 105. So I mean, he's definitely
Going out on the limb
you know,
there.
picked. Oh, just you wait till my Black Stallion, bud.
I like it.
That's the furthest limb I've ever climbed.
Climbed and you'll hit.
Uh,
It's fine.
Likely.
Likely.
And I love who it is. So
Fair. Anyways, back to Wyndham Clark.
yeah, I mean, I don't really have too much.
He's
other to
played
say.
pretty
plus
well
105.
all
He's
year,
played
too.
well
For us
and
focusing
he's-
on
and
the
he's
draft,
long.
we really are on this golf thing.
He's long off the tee. So yep. Next.
I like Ryan Armour.
because of his name.
No, just solid golfer.
Yeah, I mean a little bit of that, but I think so. My focus was approach and ball striking. He's top 50 in the world in ball striking, and then proximity 200 plus. He's third in the world.
Nice.
So that
In the
that was
world.
My thing is just gut.
Yeah.
Gut check.
Yep. So I
Got
like
him
Ryan
this
Armour
far.
plus
It's
190.
only got him 2 shitty shots.
shots,
I mean,
so-
you can't even argue with it.
True
I
dat.
know.
True dat.
Stats are stats.
Let's go one and done. Let's save our Black Stallions.
All right.
One and done.
Give me some nah. I realized that I looked and I had Finau and Nah left. I can't pull the trigger on Finau. He's just not. good.
I can.
Yeah.
Let's go, Tony.
Hey.
I wanted to, but I just couldn't. So
Tony
give me some
plays-
nah.
Tony plays well in the ocean.
Okay.
He's won in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Like, he plays well out of the U.S.
Out of the U.S. next to the ocean.
Um,
Got it. Okay.
You know, getting back into form, huge fairways.
Getting back into form.
He's
attempting.
yes.
Okay.
And so this is the perfect event for things to come together.
Plays
We-
with Buddy Rom.
well, and it's just, and
Okay.
honestly, like,
Okay.
so my thought was I took Rahm as the outright winner. Finau is the one and done. Like, if we could get a Finau playoff, would be
that would be
Daddy'd be on a couch hardcore
Yeah,
on Sunday.
hardcore.
I don't care how nice it is outside. I'm find myself with a beverage and on the couch on Sunday.
It's beveragino.
But yes, this is my week for Finau because of those things. I think he's finally got things figured out, and a lot of things people don't know. And he was on the cover of Golf Magazine this week, and they did a Masters story on him. And it's been 3 years, I think, now since he broke his ankle, basically after the hole-in-one on par 3. So knew a little bit about this, but like they've actually gone into depth now. So he's he had to completely change his swing for a full year, a full season
while he rehabbed
that. And like ever since then, he's been trying to get back to his full swing. Because basically it was a partial swing where he couldn't put weight in certain directions on a foot. So just how much that's hampered his progress. And again, it's little things in the professional game of golf. It's little things in the amateur game of golf, let alone the professional side. So this tournament with a little bit weaker field, big fairways, that's kind of been an issue for him. But the guy's a birdie maker. We talk about, he can score. He can go low.
Yeah.
So can he do it for 4 days? We're going to say in Mexico he can.
Let's do it.
It's go time for Tony.
Yes.
I'm going Aaron Wise this week.
Doesn't seem very wise.
He is.
I don't know if we can say that yet.
I don't either. But
the reason I went Aaron Wise is he is not the best in the world at anything, but he's very, very good at a lot of things. He's top half of the world in basically every single metric that you can look at. So his average is pretty darn good.
He's an Aaron of all trades. Jack of none. Master of
Aaron Wise, one and done.
All right.
Let's go player to fade.
Oh,
the shitty shot is on the line.
Oh, dang it. Ryan stole my thunder here.
Was that your player to fade too? Well, you can still use him.
Abe Answer. He is going home, but he has been battling multiple injuries, actually. And while he was someone that I considered, because I think he'll play well if he's healthy, it's, again, kind of what we've been saying. It's a prove-it thing.
Remember the last time you did this?
Yep.
Burger?
Yeah. He finished T2.
Yeah. He was healthy.
He didn't win.
No, but he had a good lead, and then
he did.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, putting it out there.
Right.
Okay.
All
right.
The thing is, there's not a ton of players. There's not a ton of good players to fade. So,
no, it's not.
I'm not fading. Should I fade Finau and go Answer? Probably. That's probably actually what's going to happen here. But at the end of the day, that's where we're at.
All right.
Yeah, I'm also fading Abe. I've been following kind of that metrics for this week, and again, I don't know if he's a healthy 100%, and he just isn't playing the type of golf that I want to pick.
And now he's going to win.
Yeah,
great.
I mean, my other guy about made a double down shot here. My other guy was Kevin Na. If I was going to fade, so
right.
But
Black Stallion.
Black Stallions.
Let's get it.
Fade Na.
I like a name that
never fade Na.
Never fade the Na.
I like a name that does not have very good driving distance, but has very good, pretty much everything else. Mm-hmm. Tyler Duncan, plus 8,000.
Old TD.
Who?
Tyler Duncan.
Yep.
Plus 8,000.
Tim's great nephew.
Yeah, sure. Of it.
Cole, you said you were going with a stretch here. Who are you going with?
Going back to my boy J Duff. Jason Duffner, plus 32,000.
Oh my God!
You know how thin that branch is? I said I was going on a limb. I'm not even sure it's a limb at this point. It's twig.
Oh. I think you're standing on the stem of a leaf now.
I found him, and I'm embracing him.
Fair.
I mean, you can't even go with a gut at that point.
I don't have anything.
I'm going with like a wiggle, a tickle in my big toe.
Yeah.
Maybe my pinky toe.
It's just from the wind.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
First of all, where has he been? Clearly
getting
not.
divorced.
Yeah.
First of all,
That usually doesn't bode well for
he needs
golfers.
to get out and clear his head.
Yeah. Down in Mexico.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure he went through, like most golfers, he married a chick that was way better looking than he was. And
Like most, like all.
Yeah, most. Just most.
Just most.
I saw a ton of tweets about DJ and
Paulina.
Yeah, and it was like
Finally married. I mean, a
was-
lot of people
instead of-
probably didn't even know that they
instead
were
of
already
like
married, but-
stay in school, it was like, all right, kids, stay with golf and different
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes, exactly.
Not stay in school, stay with golf.
Well, I mean, it was the picture of Cantlay, Schauffele, and then 2 Sports Illustrated swimsuit models,
Right.
or might as well have been. And then you got Koepka's fiance, who was somewhere on a beach in if you want to call it a bikini, you can, but it was less than lingerie.
There was
But that's-
cloth. There
Yeah.
was.
And then you had Paulina Gretzky
Stitching.
in a see-through wedding dress.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and
that
then
was
just
golf.
Tiger's list.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, that's golf for the and that's the thing is like if anyone's settled, it's been Tiger.
It's been Tiger.
And he was married to one of the hottest women alive before he downgraded most of the rest of his life.
Yeah.
So I mean, like that is what it is. But yes.
So be a golfer. Kids.
Have you guys heard,
Young
speaking
fellas.
of Tigers, like, have you guys heard Ron White's skit about that?
No.
It's hilarious. He's talking about one of his wife's friends' husbands
Nephews.
cheated one time.
Child.
And he's like, well, Tiger Woods, how can you like him? He's done it this many times, yada, yada, 18 times or something like that. And he's like, if we're talking percentages here, like that guy's shooting 1,000%. Those are the only 2 women on earth that would sleep with him. Tiger's 18 for 18,000 right now.
Right.
Those are pretty good numbers. He's like, that's love right there.
Fair enough.
Great
Fair
skit. Bad thing to talk about
Right.
with under circumstances, but great skit. It's hilarious.
Anyways, Carlos Ortiz, Black Stallion.
Sticking to
Let's get it.
that Latina.
Let's go.
Also,
All about those
love me
Latinos.
some Tagala this weekend. But
Thigala.
Thigala. You got to pronounce the H?
I have no idea.
No, that's
I'm
it's
calling
Tagalog.
him.
It's
I'm
Tagalog.
calling him Thigala.
It's the Jaguars.
Well, I also called
the Jaguars.
Tringali
The Jaguars
triangle,
also
so
have
I
the
don't know
first
what to
pick.
say.
So that was my player that if we didn't talk about him, I was going to mention him.
triangle.
We have given him so much crap this year.
Cameron?
But he's another guy that has
He's just
looking at it. He's just
steady Eddie.
right. He's
Yeah,
above
but-
average in every single category
It's-
that you can look up.
But it's
Yeah,
when you
it's gonna
need
be
him
one of
to
the
do
Camerons.
something. Yeah,
Either
Champ. It's gonna be
or
Champ.
Young. They're both
It,
long.
absolutely.
And Tringali.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Champ, Young,
Yeah,
Tringali.
too many Camerons. but
Triangle. No.
One of them's
One's
bound
got
to do well.
Tringali, he's
one of
looking for his
them's
first
bound to
tour
miss the
win.
cut.
The guy's good enough to get at least one tour win
name's
with a
Triangle.
lower field.
And he's lost
He
me
might do
money.
it here.
That's fair.
So.
Yep.
All right.
All right, those are those picks. Let's jump to the NFL, baby. Draft week.
Just play them all. That's all I got.
Vegas,
We do
baby.
need to update our.
And with the first pick of the 2022 NFL Draft, the Jaguars
Packers.
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
trade down.
Aren't they always the number 1 pick? I feel like they've been there for like 4 years.
Well, Urban did it to them this year.
I mean, you hired Urban. They did it to themselves. So we're
I mean, they couldn't get one tie like the Lions and get the second pick, at least.
you guys, they just need so much help.
So I'm gonna count this because we talked about this earlier. There being a ton of offseason moves and moves from last year where people got compensatory picks and everything like that. There's quite a few teams that do not have a first round pick this year.
And those would be the
I mean,
Niners.
Are we going there first?
I mean, yeah, because they don't have them, so it's easier.
Right.
It's shorter list. Niners, Bears, Broncos, Browns, Colts, Dolphins, Raiders, Rams. As we stand, there could trade back.
That is 25% of the NFL does not have a number 1 pick.
It's kind of insane.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be all right. I mean, when I mean they be all right, it'd be the Niners will be fine.
Right.
The Broncos will be fine. The Colts will be fine. The Raiders will be fine. The Rams will be fine. The Dolphins will be also fine.
So
The Browns, well, they don't know what they're doing in life.
So let's remind people again, when we started Goon Squad, it was, last fall, talking about football.
Mm-hmm.
We were making picks based off of money line. So which team do we think is going to win?
Mm-hmm.
We were making picks based off of the spread. For example, we think I don't even want to look at the teams on this first page because none of them are very good. We want the Packers are 3.5-point favorites over
The Vikings.
the Vikings, because that's actually probably happened last year.
Got
So
him.
3.5-point favorites over the Vikings. Who do we think is going to cover that spread? Do we think the Vikings are going to lose by less than 3 points, or the Packers going to win by
12.
more than 3.5?
Right.
Okay. Other picks, we went with the total. So those teams combined had to score more or less than a specific total.
Do I need that up yet?
What's that? No, not yet. And then we went with, our locks, I guess, when we talk about locks, we got a lot of crap for this last year that we were bad on our lock picks, but we gave ourselves some pretty strict parameters.
Right.
We had to be plus specific odds or under specific odds. It couldn't be like, oh yeah, the Bills are minus 12,000 over the Jaguars, so we're just going to take those guys because obviously that's a lock pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So Goon Squad got started on football.
Right.
We're all big football fans. These two both played college football for who?
DU?
Bulldogs.
That's Drake University for those that did not know.
Located Des Moines, Iowa,
Des Moines.
which is where we are,
Mm-hmm.
where all of our firms are, and where Coles Bank, little shout out to them, a little South Story Bank shout out.
Yes, sir.
Story.
They were part of this when we talked about our closing deal earlier. They were part of that, a big part of that.
They're our lender.
Yes, absolutely.
Somebody had to do it.
Someone had to do it.
Someone had to, someone did.
But anyways, football, that's kind of these guys' bread and butter. I mean, we're obviously all college athletes, but not football. I love football, played football throughout high school, but these guys,
Hey,
they're
you
the
know what
knowledge.
they say? Those who can't play, bet. Oh, wait.
Wait.
I think it was coach, but I mean,
It's-
these days
no,
it's
it's-
bet.
It's I think you're thinking of School of Rock when it's like those who can't do teach. And
Yeah,
those who
there you
can't teach Jim.
I like what you said. I like what you said, but if you're an NFL player, you shouldn't probably bet.
Yeah.
Costs you a season.
Cough, Calvin.
We'll get to that.
Yeah,
But yeah.
Because he's not on the list, and I don't understand.
All right,
how he's
guys,
not.
where do we want to start with this? Because this is a very, very big week for all three of our teams. I mean, our teams, none of us won the Super Bowl. Cowboys had a very, very good season. Cole,
Cowboys had a cow.
I mean, yeah, the Cowboys were the Cowboys.
you heard that thump too?
I did. My children
Yep.
are here doing God knows what. The Cowboys were the Cowboys.
Yeah, they had a great.
Come out
I
hot.
would say great. They had a Cowboys regular season
Limp your way
with a
in.
Cowboys roster. The
don't
thing
know.
I
The
will
Cowboys
say,
finish.
I don't know if
Thing
I
that
would
I
say
will
Cowboys
say that
regular season.
because I'm just saying
I'd go 9-8 for a Cowboys regular season rather than 12-5.
no, an anticipated Cowboy season,
Yes.
which they've done, and then
They
didn't perform in the playoffs
like the
with
Cowboys.
a solid roster, and their defense was actually their strong point compared to the offense, which we'll get into within needs and stuff like that for the first round.
So that was kind of a recap of the Cowboys last year. Stoy, Falcons, a little bit of a recap, maybe some.
I mean,
some
our
things
team's
that
not
you-
even the same team. I don't even know what to say anymore.
Players that you're excited that are coming back.
Pitts. Yeah, our number one pick from last year.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about him. Our
I mean, you've
defense
got a
is looking solid now.
You've got a top 10 pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Going with 8. So, I mean,
Yeah.
overall, we haven't talked about the offseason, but recap from last year?
Yeah.
Oh, doo-doo. Failed to perform, and that is mainly because the O-line gave Matt Ryan, who's now with the Colts, by the way, if no one knew that. Can't wait for him to win the Super Bowl there. Gave him, less than 1.8 seconds per snap on average.
Performed
Can you
enough to win.
explain
Performed enough to win you $1,000 though.
Oh, yeah.
Explain to me
Absolutely.
how O-line is not a need for them.
Whose list is this?
Right.
Because it's trash, if that's not the case.
I don't disagree.
Yes, we have picked up people in the offseason, but they're all on one-year deals, a lot of prove-its. did not improve enough not to pick O-line.
Right.
Fair.
So I don't know how they're not on there, number one.
Right.
Because we do have gap fillers and receiver. I would assume our running backs are we'll get to that. Never mind.
Right.
But overall,
How about the Vikings?
what's up, bud?
Smoke signal.
Help. Okay.
While I'm recapping the Vikings, Stoy has gotten the SOS signal from.
sure it's just Disney or something.
So yeah, and he doesn't want to hear a recap of the Vikings anyway. So
Right.
good time to walk out. I think last year, me, like a lot of Vikings fans, that was talent-wise a really, really talented roster. They just didn't really put anything together. We looked at those 2-minute defense, and they just were terrible. One stat that I saw in the offseason was if they're winning in the fourth quarter, going into the fourth quarter, they only have like one loss in the last 4 years. Like they're just great when it comes to that. So they're good at holding, but they're not good at coming back. Obviously, clearly from their 8-9 season. Off-season moves, they did a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why, I'm kind of looking at their team needs here, and we'll get into that. It's kind of sporadic,
Yeah.
a little bit, but there was a decent amount of movement there.
Right.
New brass.
Picked
That's
up a lot of defensive help. Obviously,
Right.
have a new head coach.
new brass, new head coach, new GM. That I think some of the stuff with Vikings fans getting impatient because they weren't making a lot of those moves right away in the offseason, thinking, okay, this is just another Spielman, Zimmer situation. Ziggy Wilf, the Wilfs family just has too much of their hands in their pockets
Right.
as owners, and they're never really going to be able to make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden, some of these later signs, they're like, okay, yeah, I like this. And
Right.
stuff started to trend in the right direction.
Yeah. There's
High hopes going into this, but I'm excited to see what sort of guy. They have a top half of the first round pick.
Right.
There's some pretty cool scenarios that I've seen out there that give them a little bit more flexibility, per se, with that pick. But we'll get into that a little bit later. It just ended.
Good.
So
Perfect time.
Yeah.
you're good.
Let's do this thing.
Where do we want to start on this, fellas? I think the big thing that we've seen, and we kind of hit on it earlier, was the line movement. There's not a lot of betting that we can't do the betting in Iowa based
Right.
off of draft bets. But one of the big things that we kept hearing is Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan is the number 1 overall pick. Like, we just heard it for months and months.
Right.
The only guy that had kind of a sniff at him right away was Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon.
Yeah.
Same position, positional players. But now there's another guy. Third guy that his odds jumped up to be the odds-on favorite to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Trayvon Walker.
The only guy that's plus money in areas where you can bet.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Fun
I did
fact.
not know that.
Mhm.
I did not know that.
Or, sorry, opposite of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know we know what you
The
meant.
only
But
guy that,
yeah.
it's
All right.
what are his odds when you last look at like minus 100?
yesterday.
or something?
What I had heard on that was that Hutchison had moved from, I believe it was, call it like minus 120 to plus about the same, 120, 150. And Walker had moved from like almost like plus 195 to minus like
210?
210 or
It was 210? It
220.
was crazy. It
So
was
he went from probably the
Huge.
third highest odds,
Second
be
or
the
third.
second or
He was-
third,
yeah, it's-
to
two.
like a long
Clear-cut one.
clear
Yes.
cut number 1.
Yeah, it was a big flip.
What does that tell you when it happens so late like that?
Say not insider info by any means, but the FanDuel head odds maker said that there was a lot of sharp money that came in on Walker with very limited information on draft betting and stuff like that. Definitely something where Vegas has got to pay attention to that money a little bit more, and multiple sharps came with Walker information. So they've got to pay attention to that. Obviously, only certain states are going to have access to that.
Not
But,
Iowa.
we're not one of them. So, there's a lot of fun stuff out there in certain states that you're going to be able to bet on the draft. But that was one that was very strong and literally flipped overnight.
So you guys will know more about this than I will. But how much leading up to the draft do the Jaguars, the Lions, whoever, how much are they in contact with these players, really still getting their feel for their personality type deal? Or is there like a lull period after they do their combine interviews or whatever, or their one-on-one interviews when they bring them out to the facility, just to talk to these guys and really get a feel for them, who they are as a person, who they are as a player?
It's restricted. Once they do their one-on-ones, which I forgot what they call them off the top of my head, and they only have limited. It's like recruiting.
Just their interviews.
Instantly.
Yep.
Once you get through your interviews, it's a dead period until the night of when they give you a call.
But a lot of it has to do with medical review.
Yeah, absolutely.
Medical review and then background checks, I would say, are probably
what's happening a lot right now.
1A, 1B. There's a player that we'll talk about. There's a couple players that are being reported that have been dropped off multiple teams' draft boards. One's a top 5 lineman from Alabama, and then the other one is a D lineman that was bottom of the first round into the second round, but that have been from multiple teams. It's been reported, and the most likely still go the top 5 guy is Evans from Alabama. He's been dropped and he's played 40. He had 40 college starts, but that's what the medical and no reports on what exactly the medical issue is.
Teams know,
but it's that type of stuff.
Yeah, that they're doing right now.
Like he's the number 1
O-line
tackle and O-lineman projected in the draft before that type of stuff. That's not to say he still won't go, because there's teams that he passed according to them. So that's just tough when you're looking at, obviously, especially linemen. Like, that's not a running back you expect to get 3 to 5 years out of. That's a guy you're wanting to get 10 to 12. So that's tough. There's been another lineman that's really come up the board, and I think a lot of the rise of, I think it's Akunu. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but he's from NC State.
Yep.
But I think a lot of his rise probably has to do with that.
Absolutely.
They're not saying that, but kind of read between the lines type of thing.
Right.
That's why
someone goes down,
climbing,
someone's going to come up.
because he would be, if the Jaguars decide to go O-line, I don't think there's much of a chance that the Lions decide to go O-line. I think they're just going to dictate off of what the Jaguars do. But that the Texans, the Jets, that's going to become
Let's
who takes over for that. But that's more getting into the kind of the.
Why don't we go top 10 and then our teams?
I was about to go top. Should we go top 5 because you're in the top 10 before teams?
Yeah, we can do that. I truly believe it's going D-line. Could be Hutchinson, Walker, Hutchinson. I don't understand. I would not.
You would parlay those 1-2
Absolutely,
as a
without a doubt. I mean, yes, the Jags. No, because those 2 are the top players,
right?
And I'm a BPA type, so you got to go with the best available.
Mm-hmm.
And those 2 are going to go best available for me.
Yeah, no, I don't.
And I don't know what order that's. To me, what are the differences in them?
Now, here's
just their measurables. Hutchinson, 6'7", 260. Walker, 6'5", 270.
I mean, there's not a difference.
One played for Michigan, one played for Georgia. SEC, a little stronger in terms of just conference. I mean, tomato. That's going to come down to the nitpicking of that team. Personally,
and the brass of the Jaguars, I've seen in the last couple of days, is not on the same page with this pick, which is not surprising because most of the teams that are in shambles are not on the same page, and that's why they end up, whether it's not getting along with players or coaches not getting players they want or management not paying players that coaches wanted, whatever it may be, that's where a lot of issues arise, and it doesn't seem like the Jaguars are on Ultimately, usually management gets the way over the coaches. So, whichever person that is. But that's why I think you're seeing a lot of the odds changes and stuff like that as well.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That's going to go into it.
You're getting a lot of varying reports and honestly, a lot of disinformation.
Yeah.
Which is very popular around draft time.
It's part of the game.
So you got to filter through the shit.
Yeah, it's part of the game.
I don't think this site's going to work very well on here.
Nope. I would say to find a better one.
At the path.
I'm just looking at, and I am looking at their needs here based off of the Jaguars. So a guy that I've heard is like a generational talent almost at safety. And I haven't seen him on anybody's board. I don't know if he's a number 1 overall pick, but definitely it shows that it's one of the Jaguars' needs here is a Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame.
Yep, safety.
Yeah, and that's one of their needs. And if, I don't know what the brass is necessarily saying like you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Do they venture away from maybe best player available, kind of how Stoy was talking to, okay, what's our immediate need and who's our number 1 guy?
Right.
Or do they just leverage it and say, all right, well, the number 1 guy isn't necessarily our number 1 need, and we could maybe go down and let somebody else have some fun there.
Yeah. And like mock drafts are all over the place this year.
They're just ridiculous.
One week to the other, and that's kind of the point of mock drafts in some ways, that you just see so many different, but
That being said, though, the Jags are stuck at 1. I don't see anybody trading to 1.
No, I don't.
There's no need to. There's depth at D-line position.
Well, there's depth at D-line, there's depth at O-line,
Receiver.
there's depth at corner, there's depth at receiver.
So
There's no
with
need.
the brass,
There's no quarterbacks that anybody's desperate to get. Like,
I mean, this draft should relatively, and it won't because it never does. It could fly through.
well, and honestly, here's
5
the other
without
thing
even-
that doesn't. I mean, it has to do with the draft because it's going to affect it. There are so many quality free agents that are unsigned, whether it be quarterback, receivers, running backs out there right now, that the draft is going to impact where those guys go. Biggest names that come up are obviously Debo, Amari Cooper, and then Baker Mayfield from a quarterback perspective.
Yeah.
So, like, that's just 3 names, but there's several more besides that that are going to be impacted by the draft, and that teams are waiting to see what happens in the draft in order to make decisions on whether or not they do or don't take that position.
there was so much talk about Baker and like, okay, it's going to happen. His thing is going to happen right around the draft, maybe during the draft or right after the draft. But
I bet it'll be
the draft
Thursday after round 1.
The draft tells you what Baker's future looks like. Could he start at some NFL teams and maybe be that guy for if they have a guy that they want to be their long-term guy next year in the draft rather than this year? Could he be that, plug and play player for a year or two? Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, he's got the talent to do it.
Yeah.
Does somebody take that chance? Because he has shown enough to get some money, obviously. Does somebody take that chance? I don't know. But
He's a starting quarterback in the NFL.
And also you have to remember that this draft is going to be unique in the fact that you've had COVID years in college football. So you have guys that literally haven't played competitive football in 700 and some odd days. That are going to be at the top of drafts. People aren't going to remember and be like, I don't even know who that guy. And they're like, oh yeah, that guy was supposed to be the number one or a top 10 pick in 2020 or 2021 with extended COVID years and stuff like that. So definitely another thing that comes into play. And names that are going to be out there that you don't recognize because of that.
So we agree on 1-2.
1-2. I mean,
I think so, but I hate to look into too many mock drafts, but there's a lot of mock drafts that like the Lions to take a quarterback second round. Our second pick.
No.
I would take a shitty shot if the Lions took a quarterback.
If they took a quarterback, I would take all of the shitty shots left.
I'm not saying I think that's.
You heard it here first.
I don't think. I'm not saying I
left?
think so.
Like probably 2 after
Too-
you guys.
Too many.
There's no way they don't. It's not even a high need for them at this point.
So I guess
They're taking.
I don't
They're
disagree.
taking Walker or Hutchinson.
Absolutely.
They need it.
My question is, honestly, is at number one. I don't know if I am sold that the Jaguars won't take Ekwonu to protect Lawrence. Because
I
if
don't
you don't
disagree.
keep your quarterback
I could
upright,
see it.
it doesn't matter. And if he has moved to number one, which it seems like from all the mock draft stuff that I've seen, he's moved ahead of Neal.
Now, I just don't know enough what they did specifically in the offseason or what they have in the pipe
Right.
on that either. But I'm a defensive
you got to
guy,
have a
so-
tackle, and you got to protect.
Oh, I agree.
Right, especially in
I
the
agree.
AFC right now. I mean, we're talking.
It's actually kind of a bummer. I bet they would have loved to trade down, and it's just not a trade down draft.
Right. But, like, I mean, you look at the quarterbacks that Lawrence has to, compete against.
Oh,
The guy can be great and be the fifth best quarterback in
Mhm.
the AFC.
Absolutely.
And, like, not even a slap in the face. Like, he won't even get
Just
Pro
has no
Bowl, like,
chance.
sniff a Pro
Right.
Bowl, and he could have
Oh, right.
40 touchdowns and 4,500 yards.
You're not wrong.
Like, I mean, you got Allen, you got Mahomes, you got.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
I mean,
I
the
like
thought
it.
is, I like it. I could see it.
So
But
that's where I'm between. Honestly, I think the Lions, I'm more set on the Lions. Like, I think they take Hutchison if he's available.
they're going to take whoever.
Yeah.
They're going to take who's available. Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm just saying if it's between,
it's
the,
between
two,
the two,
I think
they'll go
they're
Hutchinson.
going Hutchison before
They're going Hutchinson for a couple of reasons.
before Walker.
One, because he's a hell of a player.
Right.
But two, the marketability in the fan. I
Mhm.
mean, obviously, clearly, you're taking the Michigan
From
guy.
Michigan guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm looking at like the Jags too. Their players
We
acquired in the
we have
offseason.
to move on to other teams.
Yeah. I mean,
When,
eventually.
when we know who the top two are, we should move.
So Texans.
This is where it gets fun.
Who do you think the Texans are taking then? I think they're going corner.
I think they need to. I do, but this is where a Thibodeau comes into play. Personally, or Jermaine Johnson, he's been around in the words. I'm not sold that they go corner.
I mean, they
Need it. They need a lot.
Who's going to start at quarterback for them this year?
They love them some. What is his name?
Davis Mills.
Dude, long neck.
Davis Mills.
Long neck.
Yeah, from Stanford. That's right.
They like him. And fair. He played all right.
Well, because Watson's officially gone, and so is Tyrod. But they've got Davis Mills and Kyle Allen, I think. Came over. So
They added a corner. I mean, they added MJ Stewart in the offseason, as from what I'm seeing here. Do I still think that they might like a Stingley or a Sauce Gardner? I mean, you got McDuffie there as well.
It's probably Sauce would be my assumption. But
and
they're going corner. They're going defense regardless.
okay. And your projection is Thibodeau?
I'm leaning for Thibodeau. Yes, correct.
Thibodeau.
I think there's going to be a run on D-line edge guys.
I think if the Jaguars decide to go O-line, then they will take
A Walker. They'll go Walker 100% if that happens.
so
If they
best
don't,
available will fall in their lap.
it's going to be a coin flip between Gardner and Thibodeau.
Right.
Unless their
I almost
their board could be
right. The only thing that I like is I see two safeties lost, so I kind of like them to take Kyle Hamilton here.
Okay.
I don't think Hamilton's a top 5. Not a chance.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
That's fair. I'm just seeing they lose these guys.
I mean,
they
that's
need
another
some
guy
help as a
that's-
defensive back.
And he can play multiple positions.
Right.
So, Jets. Jets. Jets.
Jets are so bad.
Jets.
They're just not good.
No, they're not. Another team corner.
God, they need some.
They need a corner. They need some O linemen. They need
So,
some. They really need defense.
if
So
we're-
to me, I
yeah.
see they're going defense here, in my opinion.
Yes, but I would not be surprised, depending on how the O-line, again, what we talked about with the Jags.
Right.
This could be where it changes for
Right.
me, is the Jets. I could see them going O-line, 100%. They need it.
Right.
I can see them still going defense, depending on what happens with Sauce. So, this one's going to be fun. This is where it gets really cool and fun for the draft.
Right.
Even a trade-up's in play here.
Yeah, no, I don't,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
Like
disagree
it's
at all.
not. This is where it changes. Now that being said, it's probably going to fly through 1 through 10, and no one's
We're
doing
not even
anything.
gonna,
It's just
we're
so
not gonna
boring.
bat an eye.
Yeah,
It's like, oh,
but
this mock draft that you read 7 months ago is exactly
Yeah.
what it was, 1 through 10.
uh,
I like D-line for the Jets. That's just, I don't know who, because we've had so many kind of who gets picked where, but I like D-line here.
You also have to consider the Jets do have 2 picks in the top 10. So,
I think that's what gives them the flexibility to
right. But I think
If
they
there's
go
a run on-
defense
if there's a
before
run
they
on
go
edge-
offense because of that. Because I think they take a receiver at 10.
Do you
if
think it's
Sauce
a
is there?
very defensive heavy draft?
Oh, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
defense
Right.
heavy draft in terms of
Mhm. Talent.
talent.
Talent,
Anyway.
yeah.
For me, Thibodeau's out, so you're looking at Sauce, Jermaine, Stingley, Hamilton in that realm.
Right.
And that's where I just this one's tough for me, but I'm gonna say they switch it up because Thibodeau's gone there, and they'll go with Sauce.
Okay.
Yep. What's up, boys?
I heard snapping.
Then we get to the Giants.
G-Man.
Another team with 2 top 10 picks.
Yep.
Some people. I mean, this is where it.
So having 2 top 10 picks here, Giants or Jets in the situation, they get their top guy at one of those positions or one of those first picks, obviously 4 or 5. Trade later first round and then get a couple mid-round picks. Do you think that that's in play for those guys?
They can, but I think at 5 they're taking O-line.
O-line.
They desperately need it.
Yeah.
I would be
So
shocked if
Neil
they did not.
or Aquanu, who's ever there, they're
Right.
taking best available between those 2.
And I think Charles Cross is the third guy. Not that
Again, it depends
I
what
mean,
they think of Neil.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's O-line. I've seen a couple mocks of them going quarterback, which I think is stupid, but
so.
O-line.
I mean, it seems like tackle is where they're going at
Yeah.
5, and you can't blame them. Especially, I mean, they're going to give
Either one, they can get them both. No matter.
right. They're going to try to stabilize the O line a little bit, get the offense going. The defense hasn't been actually terrible.
The
They
O-line's
really need to stabilize their offense.
bad.
Barkley's
So
still there. You're
He only has a few years left.
trying to
get banged up
stabilize
like
the
this.
quarterback position.
You need
kind
your
of
O-line.
one last hurrah here for
for
that. So
O-line.
Panthers, first possibility for a quarterback.
Absolutely.
A lot of talk.
What did we talk about earlier? Stoy. Panthers have the 6th pick in the draft.
Then 100.
They don't have another pick until 137.
Right. So they would. They would love to trade this pick.
Correct.
Try
Because
to
they
get
can go with quarterback later.
2
Yep.
or 3 picks for it, probably 2.
But who?
What are you trading up for, and who?
Who?
I mean, because you've got
Unless
nobody.
one of these
Again,
teams
nobody else has. I mean,
By that time, the edges are gone.
right.
Assuming the edges are gone, the quarterback, the top corner is gone.
That's
one
what I'm saying.
O-line's
Though, like,
gone.
this would be a scenario where the Jaguars take an O lineman, and one of those 3 defensive
Is
guys
still
may
there.
still be available.
That would be the
And so,
option.
like-
Yep. Someone could,
right,
but
I just
tough call. It's a tough ask.
I also
There's
look at one of
no
these
way.
like teams that don't have a first round pick whatsoever to say like so teams that might need one. So like
Right.
a Bears or Browns that we were talking about. Like
right.
I don't know how many picks they have total. So would
Right.
it make sense for them to try and use some of those picks to try and get in there? I have no idea.
Right.
But they have
You
to have a
can't-
guy.
You can't get a first without a first.
Right, but they have to have like a compensatory first or something like that for next year.
There's no such thing as a comp first, but there's no way a next year's first and not a this year's first will get you a first.
Right, but can you
The
go
value's
like,
not there.
can I give up my 2nd, 3rd, and 7th?
I bet you probably have to go 4 picks if it's going to be second.
Right. I mean, we've seen
on.
how much picks are worth to teams, but we've also seen we've seen teams give away a bundle of draft picks, which is crazy to me. But if you're not good at drafting, then what the hell does it matter, right?
Or does somebody have
Like,
a starter, maybe
Unless
not
there's
some
a
Pro
player
Bowler,
involved.
right. Like maybe not a Pro Bowler or something. They have a starter that fills maybe a need.
Right.
That would be your only shot, and
That'd
I
be
just do
yours.
not
I don't see that
here.
So here's the question: Panthers taking a quarterback or no? I'm saying no.
I'm saying no.
They have too many other needs.
Too many other needs, and they can fall back on that quarterback or go get Mayfield.
Right. Well, that and you can't
He's already
only
tied
give
to it.
Darnold 1 year. To me, they got to get somebody
Right. Yep.
to protect him.
I agree.
I
agree. I think that's whether either Neal or Kwanu,
Mm-hmm.
one of those two is coming to that spot.
But if they're
But they could go quarterback. Like
again,
it's not, the odds.
also if one of those edge guys drops to them, they are taking the edge guy.
Yep. Absolutely.
In my opinion, because I think that's one, best available, but two, kind of gets them off the hook for having to take a quarterback.
I think, yeah, I guess I look at their depth chart and only see 2 quarterbacks in their depth chart right now and say, okay, they take a quarterback to try and maybe he's not a starter right away. Maybe he is, and maybe he beats Darnold out for that starting position. I do like what you guys are saying. I think there's more need, like what you guys are saying, but that's why I think that quarterback sneaks in here is because they only have those 2 guys there that you got Sam Darnold and PJ Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Then you're back to the G-men. So just depending on what they get at 5. But again, can you get something for that 7th? A lot is going to, if they do go offensive line at 5, do they go corner, safety, D-line? I don't think you go O-line again.
So, Stoy, you
have a lot
mentioning
of
this.
needs.
This will be Johnson or Stingley, in my opinion.
Yep.
Okay. You mentioned this earlier a little bit, and I don't know why he's falling, but you said like some people have Thibodeau falling.
They do.
This is where I would see them going Thibodeau because I think they go Kwanu or Neal or Cross. one of those high end linemen for their 5, and then 7.
If a D line drops that far,
right,
they're absolutely picking that up.
Yeah,
100%.
I just remember you talking about Thibodeau dropping to this spot, and I'm like, well, if that's the case, then I think they go there.
Right.
Yeah.
He's kind of a no brainer for them to go there, honestly.
Absolutely.
All right,
let's go.
Here we are. You're on. You are on the clock.
This one's gonna be an interesting draft. We've got picks and we've got holes, and I mean like giant black holes that are really, really impossible to fill in one draft. We've got this 8 pick here, and then we got 2 seconds and 2/3.
Right,
and that's. I mean, then we have 1 and 1 and 1 and 1. But those are our drafts. Like,
right. So give me like 1, 2, 3 in order positions needed for you guys.
O-line,
number 1,
absolutely,
no doubt, no brainer.
Yeah.
Okay.
No doubt, no brainer.
Yep.
Which is different than our list.
Where's wide receiver fall?
For me, based upon what we've done in the offseason, 3.
Okay.
O-line, D-line, receiver.
Okay.
So I really actually would be okay with them just drafting those 3 positions the entire
draft.
time.
Okay, so O-line probably most likely to be available here at 8?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay, and tackle specifically? Or interior?
Really, I think we've the tackle we signed or drafted 3 years ago, McGarry, has not panned out.
Right.
So they're ready to replace him at this point. So yes, you can go tackle without a doubt.
Which would be probably either Neal, Cross, or Kwanu, depending on who's
if they're
available.
there. Yep.
One of those 3 guys is on the board. We're taking them.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Again, unless we trade down, which again I'm okay with.
Which one of those 3 guys is going to be available?
You would assume.
Yeah.
Unless they don't like
unless
they don't like Neal. If they wrote off Neal,
right, then
I see them going D.
Okay. And that person would be
if no one falls from above, for me that remains on my list, Jermaine Johnson or
and that's what I'm seeing as well.
Stingley, but we don't need another corner at this moment.
Right.
So I'm going Johnson.
Yep. That's fair.
If there's no O-line. I want an O-line regardless.
Okay.
And then we follow that.
Do we want to talk about your other Falcons picks now, or do we want to get through the Cowboys and the Vikings and then come back?
We can go you guys' first round.
Okay.
I mean, because we're not too far away.
Right. So Seahawks are at 9. Obviously, trying to address quarterback there. Baker Mayfield's on the outside looking in, possibly there. Drew Lock's there. I don't see them taking a quarterback.
They say they like Lock, so
right. I mean, I think they're going to again go they've got a lot of different things to address there.
I think
they might go safety.
They're in a good spot. Actually, I do
there's
want to say something about the Falcons that is not on this list.
Oh yeah.
The fact that no one's speaking about it as much, but we lost Ridley. Like it is a loss.
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
They're not talking too much about that. They're just saying our receiving core is weak, which clearly. But even our list here, they don't speak about it. I've known in others, they're just not speaking about that as a loss and what it can do, which is where receiver can come into play for the Falcons.
Right.
But
randomly.
Not there.
I was going to ask. I hope not.
I was going to ask between two guys that I think they could take there.
Olave.
I thought Garrett Wilson or Drake London.
Okay.
London's been tied to him for a while. Really strong as of late. A lot of insider Twitter throwing up to him.
At 8 though, you think?
So I like the line. I like the line pick there, but they have so many middle of the draft picks, and a lot of those middle draft linemen tend to
be solid,
tend to be long-term starters. So I could almost see him going wide receiver here, and then heavy line middle and developing
any chance
those
they
players.
trade the pick?
If it's available, yeah. Because I mean, if they do that, I don't know who the trade partner would be by any means. I mean, the partners could be Jets, Washington, maybe the Vikings, just for corner reasons because you got Stingley, and then it kind of it's not as deep.
So I saw a lot of like the Steelers being a potential trade partner for a lot of people that want to get up to a higher pick.
Do they want? Are they trying to come and get a quarterback?
That's what a lot of what I'm seeing is they're trying to potentially get a quarterback.
That'd be.
But jumping into, I don't know if they want to jump into the top 10 because then top 10 is costly, right? So that's where I don't know. But Steelers do have that.
This is where you start
incentive to get up there,
like that 8 to 12 range, where you start getting a little bit more value, and then, I mean, that's where we could start to see some dancing around here in the first round.
So 10 back to the Jets again.
Yeah, just depending on what's there.
We liked D-line before. Right. I think Stoy liked safety here, I believe, before.
Yep, this is where safety to come into play.
So yeah, just depending. I think the Jets are at, they're not in a position where to me their needs are what's going to be best available. So like I think you just go with So like if the D tackle is best available at that point, take the D tackle. If the D lineman, if it's a safety, if it's a corner, whoever it is,
if one of your needs is the best available, take that.
It's going to fill a void. I mean, they're kind of in the same boat as the Texans. You need every position.
Yep.
Just go with the best guy.
So best guy is going to usually fill that void. Next up, the Commanders. The newly branded
Commanders.
Don't even really care to talk about them too much at 11. They're going to take
somebody.
They're going to take somebody, and then the Vikings are going to be on the board.
Yep.
So for me here, I don't have a ton of extensive football knowledge like these guys do. I'm more of a fan knowledge kind of guy. I love watching football. I either like them. So I like Gardner from Cincinnati, and I like Hamilton if I'm going defensive back. I don't know if those two will be available here. I don't think they
Sauce
will.
won't for sure.
You have in my opinion, you have a less than 50% chance of either being available.
Yeah.
But there's 100% chance only one would be available.
So my thought process here, they released a center. They got rid of a center, Mason Cole. Their other center, they did not elect to pick up his last year of his contract. steers me to believe that maybe they go Linderbaum.
Okay.
Now, his measurements at the combine, different stuff like that, showed small.
Short
his tape,
arms.
his tape shows that he's a very good blocker. He performed.
Yeah.
But so here,
Not wrong.
I think they could potentially go center for a guy that either pushes Bradbury to become a better center, or he takes over after a year, maybe halfway through the year, and they get rid of Bradbury, and now they have a cheaper, more efficient center. So if they don't have one of those two guys available, I think they go center a lot. There's a lot of talk about getting a third or fourth wide receiver, but I think they got, BC Johnson and Smith Marset, who have shown that they can catch the ball. Could be there.
You're passing on some big names at receiver at that point.
I agree.
I mean, they're all on the board. Based upon our conversation, they're literally all on the board.
Right. So I agree that you're passing on those guys. I completely agree there.
Why do you need a receiver?
So this is where I come into play. So they get Irv Smith back, who is a better receiving tight end than Tyler Conklin.
Right. Conklin more than serviceable, by the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Expecting a healthy Adam Thielen going into the season.
Right.
And you have Justin Jefferson, who is a top 3 wide receiver in the league right now.
Yeah. So what? I mean, I'm not drafting a receiver.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying I don't go receiver. Although, to your point, Stoy, there's some freaking studs there. What I think, and we talked about Pittsburgh, and I read that thing earlier. I think this is potentially, if they don't look, if some of those cornerbacks that they liked or some of those safeties that we talked about earlier are gone and they're not sold on Linderbaum at the center, I think they could trade down. I think this could be a trade down situation for the Vikings because they don't have a fourth rounder and try and get a fourth rounder.
I think they're going to look very hard at that because Linderbaum at there, I think that's a reach.
I don't disagree. So what I think could happen potentially is maybe they trade down and get either a really good wide receiver like what you were talking about, because some of those guys are still going to be available if they trade down, or maybe they get Linderbaum later on.
They can
into a deeper draft, and then that's what I'm saying, deeper into the first round, and then get another draft pick out of it. So
I mean, not a Vikings fan, but I would want you guys to trade down, mainly because you have 3 round 6 picks.
Yeah.
So
and 0 fourth round picks.
So literally trade down, give someone the 6th, go get their 1 and 2 or 3.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I don't disagree with that whatsoever.
So now we zoom all the way down.
So yeah, you've got
Jeez, where are you guys?
24th. So that's a long ways down.
It's a late night.
Like this is it is, but this is
It's nice when we draft early and you go to sleep.
It's not an uber high profile, but it's a deep draft.
It's deep. We
Deep
talked about
enough
it before.
That probably one of the best known guys in college football from his sheer size may still be available at 24. And if he is, that's who Dallas is taking.
You think Jordan falls there? If he does, absolutely. If they don't,
I mean, we're talking.
No, he will.
Between 12 and 24. So, you've got 11 picks in there. You still haven't taken any receivers off the board. You've only taken one of the top 2 safeties.
Still have quarterbacks.
You've still talked about
weird.
2 offensive tackles. No quarterbacks have been talked about at all.
You guys don't.
And so, tell me that.
Well, actually, you got 2 of them. You've got both Georgia D tackles available as we speak.
So, therefore, obviously, if he falls into our lap, so that's I don't even know how wishful thinking that is. I mean, depending on the mocks you look at, you're going to get a whole bunch of different looks. But
this one isn't agreeing with what you're saying at all. That's what I'm laughing about. Depending on which mock.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's mocks that say we need to take O tackle, O guard. And I don't disagree with that either. Like we can all. I mean, we need to. We
always bolster your line,
and stuff like that.
Yes, of course, but
if a guy like Jordan Davis drops into your lap, that guy is immediate impact disruptor and helps the losses at defensive end, and it's hard not to take that guy in the 24th pick of the first round. So
say he doesn't drop.
Right. I mean, how many quarterbacks? Are there 2 quarterbacks taken in there? Like,
I think
do I
available.
still have a solid O tackle, O guard? I mean, I know some of the talk is the O tackle from Texas A&M. Cannot think of his name.
Kenyon Green.
Green, yep.
He just popped up right there.
But I just, and that's why these mock drafts are so hard, is like needs versus best available.
Oh, and by the time we get to 24, the draft has changed.
Right.
Right. Like, I mean, trades and stuff have happened.
Correct.
Someone's dropped, someone's not. That's what's tough about at this point.
This literally says Dallas looks to bolster its line.
Well, right.
Paraphrased directly from Stoy Hall himself. Dallas looks to bolster its line, trading up for an aggressive and athletic future right tackle.
So
up.
Zion
Trading
Johnson,
from 24 to 21.
Linderbaum
Penning.
have been talked about. Penning. So, I mean, there's a lot of
Would you okay,
interior
so
O-line is a bigger need than the tackles for Dallas.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Okay.
However,
is center?
right. And
Is
so
center?
yeah.
A need?
Yeah. I mean, basically I would say 1.5 out of 5 offensive lineman positions are like what I would call solid. Zach Martin, all pro. Besides that, they've got Smith, who plays half the year and holds 85% of the time, but is somehow still like gets first team all pro every year.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Is there any world where they take a wide receiver to try and get up from Amari Cooper and?
No, they don't need it.
I mean, they do need a wide receiver because
I think they go mid round or
they
something
released
like that second.
Or
Cedric Wilson.
Cedric
and
Wilson.
Amari
left.
Cooper.
About that. I forgot
So
about
if Wilson didn't, I would say no. But
forgot about
because
Wilson.
Wilson did leave, then yes, it is a need.
But you don't think first?
No, not first round.
Okay.
I think the wide receivers have proven to be. I mean, you just look at the guys that are signing right now. Those are all second to fourth round guys that are signing huge
linebacker
second deals.
56.
No, I just don't think so. I think they go.
But it's heavy in that defense.
O-line.
It's very important.
It is O-line, D-line. But who's your who's your best sideline to sideline linebacker available?
Well, absolutely, but he doesn't play Mike.
Exactly.
Oh, who's available? Sorry, I was
right. That's what I'm saying, because that's what the defense calls for. Specific Jalen Smith type.
David Ajabo.
Walker from Georgia.
Not available at 24. Come on now.
I'm seeing him projected fall into the second.
Okay.
Potentially.
But you can reach in the first. I mean, they've got the 56th and 88th pick. Like in some projections, I'm seeing them taking a tight end, which makes no sense to me. They have a lot bigger needs in the third round.
I don't see Dean falling.
Dean
to me would be
the
guy.
Right. So I say that also real quick on Trayvon Diggs, who was seen as the top corner in the NFL. We all disagree. The only guy in the NFL to give up over 1,000 yards as corner in 2021, 1,122 yards given up as a corner. So he can take it away, but
he's popular, but
he can give it to him too.
He also giveth
a lot.
He giveth and he taketh. So he does share the love, but just I've
seen a lot of Zion Johnson here. That's offensive guard.
Yep.
Bad.
So, and that's not. I mean, I would be fine either way there. I think that either one of those I'm fine with. If Jordan Davis falls to him, I would love to have that guy on my defense.
Because I'm not even mad if we.
And I'm a quarterback. Like, protecting your quarterback's the most important thing to do, and you got to block for that running game. But
you guys, I want him at 8.
If Jordan Davis falls to me at 24,
love it.
Absolutely, got to be the number one guy on the board at that point. And I'll take him. So, that being said, kind of move into the second round. Obviously, a lot of teams without first round picks.
We got 2 of them.
You've got 2
picks. I'm so excited.
So,
man, second and third round. I mean, really, 1 through 3 is a really fun draft for us this year.
Right.
Because we got so many picks.
Second through fourth, fifth rounds. Fifth's probably a little too far, but second to fourth rounds. I mean, that's where teams win football games.
Yeah. If you're not good at drafting there, you're not a good football team.
And that's why the Patriots, when they were good, that's why they were good. And that's why other teams are very bad, because they start to stretch and reach for positions that are a little flashier than what they need and don't get the strengths they need to build their squad from bottom up. So what's your...
All right. So we're seeming we're going offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is so tough with mocks and doing this because legitimately no idea who will or will not be available. But in terms of position at this point for us, again, I think this is where we can snap up some receiver. Who knows what it looks like at that point? I'm okay with receiver at that point. Yep. Otherwise, we've got to go back to the well with the D-line or linebacker.
Okay.
And there'll be, I believe this is where the linebacker depth comes into play. Yep. So there'll be either or. I mean, we're only 15 picks away from our 2 picks. So
yep.
Whatever the run has not been on, grab that and let's move on, personally. So I think we go receiver.
Because what pick are you in round 2?
43 and 58.
Okay.
Yep. So
Ryan, what pick? Do you have a round 2 draft?
Yes. The Vikings have
46.
Yeah.
46? Okay.
Yep.
Dallas has 56.
Yep.
So 46, your round 2 pick is going to be?
They're going to go defensive back.
Okay.
What it looks like. So if they go, say they go cornerback, one of the cornerbacks, McDuffie, Stingley, Gardner falls to him, whichever one, I think they probably go with one of those guys in the first round. Hamilton, if he falls there, I think they go safety, and then I think they go the opposite in the second round. I think they go with another
safety or safety corner.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that's probably what they go. Could I see them going wide receiver for like a value play potentially?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it because I think the guys that they have in their roster and getting Smith back lowers the need for that. But
unless and I don't think this happens, unless Williams from Bama falls because of his injury, that would be a sweet value that, no, you don't need him to play, so he can sit, bring him back whenever. And that's what I would love to see the Vikings, if it happens, do for them, because they don't need it. That's just that'd be really, some team's going to do that, and they're going to get a steal at some point from him.
But that could be a team that has
to put on like 20 pounds. But
that could be a team though, like the Falcons, that has 2 picks there. That those picks aren't super far apart, right? And you could capitalize on that.
You could, except for we need people to play,
right?
Everyone.
Yeah.
Our probably rounds 1 through 5 are playing football for us this season. Debatable.
Well, I think more and more so. That's
just the way they
expected.
Going in the NFL,
but
where you at? Cowboys 56.
Yes. Depending on if they go O-line, then they probably go D-line here. DeMarvin Leal is another Texas A&M guy, D-lineman, that could possibly fall to them in the second round if they go O-line in the first round. If they end up getting Davis in the first round, then best available O-lineman probably becomes the smart pick. Nakobe Dean comes in from Georgia from a linebacker perspective in this position as well.
A lot of linebackers.
Just a lot of different possibilities, but again, to me, it's just a best available based on what you did in the first round. A lot of unknowns in between now and then, but I still don't think they're taking skill position with either one of those first 2 picks. We have the 88th pick in the third round. What about you guys?
74 and 82.
Okay, so you got
almost back to back.
A lot of picks. You got 5 picks in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah,
so and Vikings are 77, so smack dab in the middle.
So
of those.
I mean, there's so many variables for us having 2 picks that it's tough to say. But we are for sure going O-line. We're for sure going defense of line. We'll probably go safety and receiver. The thing that a lot of experts, I don't know what to call them,
guessers
are saying quarterbacks.
Guessers
Are saying we're getting a quarterback in between 2 and 3. Question is, how does Stoy feel about that?
Right.
It depends on who that quarterback is. Some have us getting Malik Willis at 8. I will throw up if we take anyone at 8. I'm okay with any one of these quarterbacks at 3 or 4, personally.
Right.
Don't really care who it is. I think whether it's Pickett, Ritter, or Corral, even Howe, they're good enough at that value that I'm good with riding with them.
Okay.
I personally want us to wait till next year. But again, this is the toughest part, right? Everyone's saying the quarterback class is deep as hell next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Top line. The issue with that is you have to play a season.
Yeah.
You have to be able to get to that pick.
Yeah, but I mean, more and more in the NFL, teams are willing to not play a season, and I don't say that as in.
If the Falcons do that, I'm going to become a different fan, personally.
I
Colts,
mean,
by the way.
right? But the
I already
Dolphins,
have a second team.
Dolphins have been doing it up a year.
I don't. Yeah, they have.
That works out. I mean, AFC, NFC,
Yeah,
you're
right.
good.
You're good. We can switch like that, right? So I can see they're taking a quarterback this year if they're there 2-3,
Right.
rounds 2-3, because Mariota is going to be good enough. The team's going to be good enough, just good enough probably, to not even. I mean, we'd have to give up the farm to get one of those top tier quarterbacks, and I don't think if you build a team correctly, you don't need a top tier quarterback. You don't need a top 5 quarterback to win in this league.
Right.
You just need a guy who doesn't turn the ball over, and you need no line to protect him. So that's where we're going, 2 through 3. The rest of the rounds, don't ask me.
All right.
I don't pay attention after 4. Does anyone else? 3, really?
Yeah, right. 1, honestly. I mean, after the draft, I'll take a look, but.
I think, right? So I think they address one thing, 77. So I thought one of their weirdest offseason moves was getting Johnny Munt from the Rams. Now, maybe it's a guy that O'Connell likes a lot, tight end, but he's played just a bunch of special teams. Maybe he's a good blocker. I don't know.
He was a quarterback.
I think the Vikings go tight end here. I think they get a true I think they get a true second guy that can play in 2 tight end set on the other side of Smith, where maybe Smith runs a little bit deeper of a route, and this guy maybe runs something like a hitch, a possession receiver that can block a ton on that 2 tight end.
Like Kohler from Iowa State?
I mean, maybe.
Only because we know more about him than
basically anybody. I just don't know.
I don't know anyone else.
I don't know who
What
that was this, actually.
See, that's why we don't plug it in.
Only because he had it plugged in.
You only plugged in, we would have been fine.
I just don't know what tight ends are taken before then, so I don't know who to say here. Obviously, best available in that situation, or whatever guy fits. You need a blocking guy. You need that brute more than a receiving guy like Irv Smith, one or the other. So I think tight end is probably who I like here.
I hate round 3 tight ends. Like, that's projected for Dallas. And, so I say that across the board is, if I can get a tight end in round 3, I can get a tight end in round 5, I can get a tight end in round 6. That's my mindset. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe if I look back at the draft, there's a lot of great tight ends that went in round 3. Doubtful. Most of the tight ends that I can remember were higher picks than that, but maybe not.
You think?
I mean, I don't know. When was Travis Kelce taken?
I have no idea.
When was Jimmy Graham taken? Those guys both feel like top end guys to me. Gronk did drop in the draft. So those are the guys. But for me, Vikings, even more so than the Cowboys. But
Kelce was the 3rd round.
So and again, maybe I'm wrong. I don't pay attention much after the first, second round. Those guys just become great guys eventually. For that reason. But I think of Iowa tight ends. A lot of the Iowa tight ends get taken early. First round guys that are talked about, second round guys that are talked about, because Iowa has one of the best records for tight ends in the NFL of any school in the country. So. Alabama,
just like you're talking about, Kittle was a 5th rounder,
right?
Hey, Waller was a 6th rounder,
right? So I mean, across the board, I can find value.
You have your facts behind you.
Right.
We got you. You're right.
In the tight end world, and so I see that for the Vikings, I see that for the Cowboys, and I'm just we both have 2 solid tight ends right now. And it's we don't have solid name 2 or 3 positions right now. What the hell are we doing? And so if they go D tackle, O guard or O tackle, who's available at linebacker in round 3, who's available at receiver in round 3, and who's available at one of the other offensive lineman positions as far as our best available, highest end in any of those positions. So I just named 3 positions without knowing anything about the tight ends in the draft period that are better choices, in my opinion, than any tight end that would be available in the 3rd round. Because if he was that great, he wouldn't still be available in the 3rd round.
I disagree that the Vikings have 2 two good tight ends, though.
I mean, Conklin and Irv Smith?
Conklin's gone. Conklin's at the Jets.
Oh, he left. That's right.
So the Vikings need it. Their next guy has one catch,
right,
9 yards in 4
I feel like
seasons.
there's a lot of teams that have
He likes to block. Fine.
2 or 3 tight ends that that you might be able to pick up a tight end not in the 3rd round. And maybe you don't have.
But if it's a 3rd round pick, you're not having to pay that guy a lot of money. So maybe you're paying one of those free agents a lot more money.
Do you think the tight end in the Vikings system is more important than whatever your other position of need is?
Do you know much about the new system?
So what I do know is they're going to run a lot of like quarterback rollout, play action passes, kind of how they did with Matt Stafford. And with that,
you don't need a tight end. You need a blocking tight end.
Who's available?
Right, we need a blocking tight end in that situation.
On the free agent market.
Who's available anywhere you need him.
But I think based off of who they picked up in the offseason, looking at this, a tight end would be a better pickup than...
Does Johnny Munt block?
I have no idea.
He played special teams.
Perfect. Great blocking tight end. Don't draft one in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. Like, that's my mindset. Again, could be completely flawed.
I think it's a possessional receiver with a lot of blocking, and Johnny Munt has 1 catch. That's the only thing is maybe.
But would you rather them get another receiver than a tight end?
Me personally, I'm comfortable with their receiving core.
But he comes from the Rams, who took a Higbee,
turned him into something.
A great tight end.
Turned him something.
Yeah, but he had a garbage year last year when they won the Super Bowl.
Well, that's because they had too many receivers.
You're making my point for me.
I know. By the way, Higbee was taken in the 4th round.
But he but to backtrack, he comes from the Patriots, who take whatever they have in strengths and make the best of those. So I don't know the Vikings roster like you do. Tight end just seems like such a bad 3rd round
Munt
pick.
Munt has injuries where he's questionable too.
Okay, well, Johnny be lost then.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing. That's the only reason I say tight end here.
Okay.
Probably is based off of.
And who's the tight end you're taking?
Honestly, the best available there, and what I've seen in a lot of mocks is that no tight end has been taken before then. So they're taking
Cade Otton,
the
guy from Washington. Is he best available?
No, I think it's
that's who the Cowboys keep listing, and I'm like,
let me pull up Walker Football here because I just had it, and it was. Is it a Colorado State guy? Maybe.
Wait, you're taking a guy from Colorado State as the best available tight end in the 3rd round
to block. But anyways, you guys have 4 5th round picks.
I mean, isn't that where
clearly draft capital to go up?
Right, but at the same time, like if the draft
5s.
depth is what it is, and you get what you want in those, like if Jordan Davis falls to you in the 1st round, but like to your
nail
point,
1 through 2,
like moving up from 24 to like 18, if that gets you a guy that you want, and you give up 2 5th rounders, and you're
absolutely
and swap
your ones,
like all day, every day. If you have a target guy, now you don't just go up there just to
do it
and don't go up. I mean, here's my fear because of our fearless leader Jerry Jones, that we trade that pick and go up and draft a receiver.
Is he the GM?
Yes.
Is he the coach?
He might as well be.
Okay.
But that's my fear is we have those picks and we have enough to get to
almost anywhere you want.
Mid
probably.
first round, which there's going to be. I mean, there's 3 solid guys available from receiver. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But my fear is that we trade what would have already been a very solid, makes sense pick, and we trade 2 of our 5th rounders away. Which is, I mean, that is what it is. Like those guys may or may not, but there's solid depth as we've talked about. And we go and we pick up one of the Ohio State receivers. And, like, great. But, like, if we gave up the chance to protect Dak instead of doing that, or we gave up the chance to rush the passer and make our edge guys that we still do have better because Jordan Davis is a double team almost every time right away. Like, that guy's he's at least a 2-down player immediately.
Yeah.
And so, like you can't teach that size. And, like, he's obviously a competitor, and he's played against the best in the country.
Huge.
Successfully.
Right.
So, I mean, in playing in the SEC. So, that would be disappointing to me just because, not because necessarily that we got what could be a very, very good receiver, but just, like, that's a Cowboys thing to do, and I feel like that might happen. Yeah, that's right. We love Mazda. Yeah.
That ad's for you.
I got that new Chevy Colorado out.
You could just unplug the thing that's plugged in. Remember from the beginning of the show?
Just plug it in.
Just plug it in.
So, I mean, that's my concern with, like, we're not going to get into 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th.
No, not a chance.
But that's my concern is that the Cowboys do have that draft capital a little bit, which honestly we don't usually have.
Correct. And
that
you
we
use
somehow
incorrectly, which
F
sounds
that
like
up.
a Jerry Jones thing.
Yep.
How about running backs? You guys think running backs do anything? I mean, there's some decent running backs in this.
No, there's solid running backs, solid receivers, but I think that
because the Falcons will pick one up in 2 and 3 too, somewhere in there.
Right, but I think that like teams have seen success as running backs have dropped. You know, first round talent has dropped to the 2nd round.
Yeah, absolutely.
Receivers have come back to the 1st round. Now they're seeing success, but also 2nd to 4th round guys have seen the most success in the NFL, and they're the ones signing all the big contracts or waiting to sign all the big contracts right now. And so the NFL is a very quick reactor to trends, way more so than any other sport. So that will start to drop receivers in my mind, and quarterbacks, we're already seeing it.
Well, I think the talent in quarterbacks is dropping it. I believe the talent in receivers is still there and going up. I believe teams are going to start drafting receivers higher because they don't have to. Then they can get rid of the expensive ones,
right? And they can use them because they're available. But I think running backs come back in the next year or two because of that as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And I think you start seeing quarterbacks drop more, but you're still going to have a premium on O-line, D-line.
Should always be there. But why do teams miss so hard on O-line, D-line?
I don't know. I don't understand.
Everyone knows that you build a team with the front 7. So what are you doing?
That's where
I don't understand some of these
flashy picks, though.
The Commanders have done
nothing.
Mm-hmm. They've been doing that though, where they're drafting edge rushers, D tackles, O line. They're bolstering that interior, and then they're trying to suffice with Ryan Fitzpatrick or Trevor Siemian. Those kind of guys. Not Trevor Siemian.
First of all,
Jared Goff.
Fitz did well.
No,
is the quarterback.
Is the current.
I'm trying to think of.
Trying to think of what?
That's not
Stafford
Goff.
Played at the Lions?
It's not Goff.
I said Commanders.
Oh, Commanders. Excuse me. Sorry. Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen was there for
Alex Smith.
No, I'm talking about just last year.
Current guy.
I can't even think of what his name is.
They played 4 quarterbacks last year because they all got hurt.
They play Wentz this year.
RG3.
That
should still be there.
He should
still be in the NFL. I mean, that's a good quarterback.
He's just hurt though.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they got him hurt.
But here's my question. My shitty shot question of the week.
Okay.
Is
that's a good thing to wrap this thing up with. Shitty shot.
I guess we should start on does everybody think a quarterback will get taken in the 1st round?
I think 2.
I don't know about 2.
Do we go over under
1.5.
a number.
Right?
Okay.
I mean, that would be
1.5.
Three.
probably
I
good.
mean, 2.5's the number that I've heard out there on different national radio broadcasts and stuff like that. The 3 being Malik Willis,
Kenny Pickett,
Kenny
Matt
Pickett,
Corral.
Matt Corral, and
Desmond Ritter.
Maybe he's definitely going second round. But Malik Willis being the most upside, having the highest upside, I should say.
I just think there's
and
2 tops.
Kenny Pickett being the most NFL ready.
2 tops.
So are you going over or under?
See, that's where you put the bet for me at 1.5.
Right.
Oh.
And is that where we're going with the shitty shot? But that's
I don't
my
know.
shitty shot premise for the draft for us. I hope maybe you guys have a different one that we could have 3 out there.
The only other shitty shot premise I was going to say is
That's
under 2 pick trades
Okay.
in the first round.
Right.
2.5. We'll go 2.5 because we got to set it there.
Okay.
Over under 2.5 trades in the first round, up or down.
Okay.
Regardless.
Stoy, any shitty shot value add?
I want to do like a fade on a player.
Okay.
I think that'd be fun.
Guy that would go if we were to take.
What sucks is
feel
what board do you?
So we just
off
need to
of?
pick a board of a best available board, somebody's best available board. Doesn't matter who it is, and then just look at a guy and say this is the guy that we say is going to drop the most in the best available board.
So Kuiper's
Do we
top
wanna-
25.
Let's go with Kuiper.
I mean, yeah, right.
Love
Kuiper best available.
So top 25, Hutchinson,
Or do we go off?
Kwanu.
Or do we go off his mock draft?
No, I think we go best available.
So Hutchinson, Iquanu, Neal, Sauce Gardner, Kyle Hamilton, Kayvon Thibodeau, Garrett Wilson, Drake London,
That's a guy we haven't talked about at all.
Derek Stingley,
I mean,
Trayvon
top
Walker.
receiver though.
That's like his top 10 has multiple receivers in it.
Why can't I find the middle part?
I can't
Kuiper,
either.
big board.
Because it's an ESPN Plus thing, probably.
Big board.
Like they keep wanting to show me.
What date do you have? I feel like there's so many dates.
Here we go. I've got something from April 3rd.
I got April 6th.
I got Hutchison, Aquanu, Neal, Sauce.
I don't have
Yep. This one is, April 3rd.
Got it. Where to go?
Let's
Again,
okay.
Stupid.
So let's start with that one then.
I think we could start because we've heard this guy go low, but we've talked about taking him potentially in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
We could do like a Thibodeau thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think we need to. I like Stoy's idea here. All we're doing is we're picking furthest.
Picking a
from-
fade of those players.
We're
and-
fading.
yeah.
We're fading.
I need someone's list because apparently my plus is just frozen to life. We're fading.
One of the top 10.
Fading a top 10.
Fading a top 10 player. Okay.
Yep. So based on those numbers in Mel Kiper's draft, so I will fade Neal from an injury perspective. Everything I see is that somebody's still going to take a chance on him in the top 10. So that would be
So like
probably not the
to
smartest.
fade out of the top 10.
To fade the farthest.
But like
So
these
like
are by position.
right. So but like
I'm
Neal's
confused.
a top 5 pick.
Right.
In everybody's.
Okay.
So like
I think what
right now,
Stoy's
he's
saying is he could
third
take
on
like
theirs.
Garrett Wilson or Drake London, a wide receiver that might drop to 17, and it'd be way easier than Neal.
Right.
Got it. Okay. I'm following. I'm tracking.
Mm-hmm.
We're good.
I mean, we're talking, does Malik Willis fall out of the first round?
But Malik
does
Willis-
Kenny Pickett fall out of the first
It's not in
round?
the top 10.
But those guys aren't in the top 10.
Right, but I
That's big
mean,
board.
I would still count
Right.
a quarterback not going. Like, if one of those two guys doesn't go in the
Right.
first round, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Okay. I got mine.
All right.
So
Garrett Wilson at 7 there. He's going to be outside the top 10
okay.
without doubt.
Only three picks outside, 5 picks. Like, what are you thinking?
He can drop 15 to 17. So I'm thinking
that he's going to drop 10 picks.
double. Yeah,
Okay.
10 picks, 8 to 10.
Right, and that's kind of
Tops.
I mean, what
obviously.
we're talking about guys that are going to possibly be there on draft night.
Yeah.
And be sitting at a table lonely.
Yeah. I'm going Garrett Wilson.
Which there's that guy or two every year. So who's that guy? Who's that guy? Right guy?
Who that guy? What it do?
Oh, shit. I
Don't know.
You're not wrong. I don't know. I can't
pick.
I don't. I think I'm gonna go. So I think Stingley is 9 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna fall to maybe like a mid to late round first rounder.
Okay.
Now, would I love him?
Who was it?
Would I love it if the Vikings
Stingley.
took him at 12? Yeah.
Cornerback LSU.
The-
we've got
the other guy-
Neil. Do we want to put these down somewhere? We've got Neil for me.
At what?
He is right now
3rd overall.
3rd overall.
Okay.
We've got
Wilson's
Garrett Wilson
7.
for you, who you have at 7. And we've got Stingley, who's at 9.
Cool.
And so mine is over under. I'm saying 1.5 quarterbacks.
Okay.
Ryan's going over.
100%.
You're saying 2 are taken.
At least.
First round.
So over under 2.5. Sounds like both of you need to have 2.5 because you both think 2 are getting taken.
I'm a max 2.
You're max 2.
I'm honestly a max 3 for sure. I think 2 for sure. I think 2 I'm locked in.
Right.
That like 1.5.
My
is
max
perfect for
my
me.
max is
What are,
my
where are you
max
at?
is 3.
Oh, man. I think that yeah. I mean, maybe it's too easy because I do think that 2 get taken. I would say based on our thoughts that if 2 don't get taken, we all have a shitty shot.
Yeah, I agree.
If Coral or
2
if
QBs taken.
Willis and Pickett don't get taken in the first round because I think those are the 2. I think Willis has the most upside. Pickett's
Do you think
the
3
most
happen?
already.
I personally think
happen.
I just don't think so because
Lock that 2.
because of the
I don't think
market.
3
Like
happens.
I don't
Do you
think
think 3 happens?
I think
Like, would you bet a shitty shot on
3
we all agreed
quarterbacks.
2.
Yeah.
Obviously, we all have one.
Is
if it's
anybody
one.
willing to go shitty shot on 3?
for 3?
I am not.
I am not. It's 2's again. 2's my max.
And if you go shitty shot and it hits, we both have one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I am.
All right.
I think I am because I personally
You don't think
I'm
GMs
less- I'm
can
less-
say no to quarterback?
I'm less confident in 3 than I am 4. If that's a weird thing to say.
Right.
I
If
feel like
4 go, this draft.
You're
is
just saying there's going
Right.
to be a run.
right. I'm saying if it's like I'm comfortable
And I
with
see
2
what you're
100%,
saying,
but if 3 were taken, I think 4
Right.
are taken because I think guys are like, oh, maybe this is a better quarterback class than what we thought. We need to go get him.
So then my real question is, are any running backs taken in the first round?
No.
Half? Half a running back in the first round, Stoy Hall.
half in the first round.
Ryan just went under.
One's going to be taken in the first round.
Yeah, which is going to, I mean, ultimately
Hold
is
on.
going to either be
Maybe
Kenneth
Brees-
Walker
Brees
or Brees
Hall?
Hall. Brees Hall is the kind of unanimous number 1 on most boards.
Oh man,
So you're saying that Brees Hall's a first round pick, just so that you're clear. on that.
I don't think the talents running back talents is all screwed, right?
Mhm.
They're actually first round talents.
Yeah,
in,
no, I don't
in
disagree.
the historical value of running backs.
Right.
I'm trying to think of what has to happen in order for a running back to
Well, you have to
occur.
You also have to.
I'm looking
figure
at it
out-
from the stage of the cycle that we were talking about earlier of saying, like,
No one wants,
guys are
no one
so
needs it.
That's
good
the
with,
thing is
like-
like, and who do you have to pass on? Who do you have to pass on in order to take a running back in the first round? Probably more talent.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
who are the Patriots running backs?
I don't.
It doesn't matter.
God,
They're
that's
not
tough.
taking one in the first round, even if they have one.
I don't think so.
Wow,
but-
wow.
I'm saying no.
RBs
Yeah, right.
over under half
Are you going yes? 1?
0. No, I just can't.
So if a running back's taken in the first round, we all have a shitty shot.
Yeah, I just
Because I'm on the same page with you guys. I don't think one's
there's a
taken.
team. Like the only team that I know would want one, and that's only because I know them, is the Falcons. But
Right. They're
not
not
taking them at an 8.
That's
we're
not
at
even one of your top 3
43.
positions.
Right. So,
Right.
but that's the only team that I've heard like
Right.
repeatedly at some point needs a running back.
Yeah.
I mean, none of our
I'm
teams are
looking at-
taking running backs.
I just want to see. No. I want to see because I'm looking at
And what was our?
teams.
Let's see. What was our last thing that we talked about?
Mine was over under 2.5 trades in the first
Oh,
round.
I thought you did the running back.
Well, no,
Got it.
I kind of
Because of the other one that wasn't really
Oh,
picked.
Damian Harris and James White. Those are good.
Right,
Over under.
so-
What was it? Was it?
2.5 trades.
Yeah, the Patriots aren't picking anybody up.
No.
I would actually trade Zeke for both of those guys.
I'm going under. There's gonna be 2.
You think 2 trades in the first round?
Mm-hmm. I don't.
There's a lot of teams. I say a lot. There's 3 teams with multiple first round picks. Is that what I'm seeing?
Well,
Eagles,
yeah, there has
Giants,
to be.
Jets, Eagles.
Yes.
Giants, Jets, Eagles, Texans. Sorry, even more.
Well, and the
Maybe-
reason I say that is
there 8 teams?
there's so much depth.
There's 8 teams with that one, so that doesn't mean there are 8 teams with 2.
Yeah,
Is that how that
I think
works?
maybe.
Or maybe a team with 3.
Maybe.
So
Yeah, I'm going to.
that being said, I mean, we talked about the Cowboys. I'm gonna go over. Gosh, that goes against the fact that I don't think teams need to trade in this draft.
What I'm saying. What do you got?
What'd you set? You set it at 2.5.
Of course you did.
That's a good number.
Oh, it's a solid. It's a
It's a good
solid
number.
number.
I think I'm going over because I want to see the Vikings trade down to get a 4th rounder
Okay.
and boost their picks a little bit.
All right.
So I think
2
I'm
overs,
going
1
over.
under.
But
Dun,
two-
dun, dun.
I feel more comfortable in 3 quarterbacks going than 3 trades happening in the first round.
All right.
I can't say that's accurate.
There it is.
I can't say that's accurate. There it is.
There it is. If you are in a state in which you can bet,
Oh, please post us. Show
Hit us up. Let us know.
because we
do
can't.
it for us. Lot of betting fun to be had.
And if you can you put a parlay on the top 2 with Hutchinson Walker for me?
I'm coaching T-ball for our practice on Thursday. So yearly, I usually get together with a group of guys who does the first round. We put names in a hat each round. Everybody throws a buck in. If more than 2 guys have the pick, then money doubles for the next round.
I love it.
So you can only have a split pot or less. So I'm hoping it rains, honestly, on Thursday, so that I can actually make that again.
Are you looking up the forecast? Because that's
absolutely,
exactly
yeah.
what
It's a
I'm doing.
40% chance of rain right now at best. So I'm not counting on being able to make it. Hoping to get home in time to join via Skype or.
I'm seeing
50.
56%.
I'm seeing
okay, so it's-
54.
So again, hoping for rain so I can make it to that. That's
Showers early, becoming less numerous in the day.
right. So I think we're gonna have practice. Unfortunately, it is what it is.
Feels too wet.
But that is one of the things that I usually enjoy
That's
every
fun.
year. One of the draft items. Again, we go whole first round. After you get through, usually it goes between 4 to 6 picks where we have pushes. So you've got a good first pot at 6, 7, 8, just where we talked about
Right.
when the
Where
draft
it
gets
gets hot.
interesting.
Yep.
And then you'll go 2 or 3 rounds where guys completely miss, and we're talking like 10 dudes that kind of know what they're doing.
Can't get
just can't make because just somebody goes rogue. Somebody goes quarterback or somebody goes running back, whatever it may be. So that's a super exciting thing. Like that's one of my favorite things. I probably like that more than any of the fantasy drafts and anything that I'm a part of, is just because you're live in the moment. You're going through the draft boards and stuff like that. And
I feel like we should do a live draft next year.
So
doing that with your guys.
Right. I was actually
really
going to suggest that this year, except for we practice on Thursday nights. So
I am present.
Right. And actually, we could have live from my buddy's house. Like that would have been sweet. Like we would have had guys there that are
food,
super into
kids
we have
running around.
We have pizza there. We have drinks there. We got.
I'll smoke some meat. Okay, let's not.
Well, whatever. I mean,
pizza.
Pizza's just easy.
You could smoke pizza.
Fire grill, wood grilled pizza. But anyway, things to think about in the future. But
come on.
One of the reasons that I love the
Barbecue
draft is
brisket
just the
pizza.
unpredictability is the entertainment.
Absolutely.
So
I will say this about the trades. But this is my last thing.
Yeah.
If there is a trade in the top 6, we're going to have 4 trades in the first round. If there is a trade in the top 6, there will be 4 total trades in the first round.
I'm going to highlight where I think that's going to happen.
It'll start a domino effect
of trades.
of absolute shit show trades.
Fair enough.
It has to be at that point because that's where the values.
Yep.
I have it aggressively highlighted on my place where I think that one's going to happen.
Let's see. Let's watch it roll.
Right at the bottom. It's right at 6. So
All right, that's why I believe it. All
right,
Take us out,
everybody. We appreciate you. Nobius Goon Squad. We're having a ton of fun, and football is really where we thrive. We love golf. Don't get me wrong. That's probably Cole's favorite sport, and how much he follows it
But it's
and
draft
watches. But it's draft week. We cannot not talk about it.
Right. It'd be failing.
2
sports.
former collegiate football players. Come on. Mm-hmm. So we love talking football. We love talking golf. We love talking all sports. Whatever sport or whatever news that you guys have heard, if you guys have a draft scenario that you think is going to be crazy off the walls, throw it at us.
Hit us up.
Absolutely.
We'll respond.
Whether it's right on our posts or whether it's, in our DMs, we're going to respond to you guys. We appreciate the following. Anywhere you can find a podcast.
Yeah.
If you want to watch us live on YouTube, go ahead. There will be a YouTube stream as well every Wednesday.
A lot of action out there. Let us know. Give us the hate.
Bring it.
The hate's always more fun because it's just
the thing is
we have to get a good laugh.
We need
about
more
it.
than just hate on TikTok.
We also don't get a ton of hate.
Just on TikTok.
On TikTok, yeah.
The haters live on
Otherwise,
TikTok.
They hate our football.
That's fine.
We're not bad at
It's
golf.
fine.
Golf.
We had a bad football year. Okay, it happens.
That's fine.
Golf been crushing. Well,
All right. Enjoy the draft. Be good, everybody.
Some of us haven't crushed it.
Crushing the shots.
It's time.